Dunzos, they cost 30 wood in order to produce them. Meanwhile, the Limitane for the Byzantines, they cost 10. They cost 1/3 of the wood. Granted, they do cost a little bit more food, but yeah, it's a lot harder for the Malians to sustain Dunzo production here on this map compared to the Mitanni production over on the side of the Byzantines.
And that can definitely be quite a limiting factor for him, because we know with Lucifron he's, like, again, aggressive. The problem with that is Malians, they tend to get their buildings damaged, and then the repair, those costs that do stack up when you're trying to produce these very expensive units, they do make things a lot more difficult. And that's something we've been seeing a lot with this aggression against Malians. A lot of people just go for a little bit of damage because they know they're going to limit you with the wood. And especially on bald land where, you know, it's in the name, pretty bald, there's not a lot of hair going on, not a lot of trees growing, so it does speak to itself. I do want to, however, guys, we're going to be looking at the qualified players in a bit, as both of these guys have not yet gone into game. I see them loading in now. I just wanted to touch on the fact that we did not get, not many games that let us have KT, but we don't have a lot of that in the upcoming tournaments. Next week, we have the EGC qualifiers starting as well. And do you think that from this tournament, what you've been seeing, that this is going to dictate a lot of the same bans?
It kind of depends on the Civ draft a little bit. I haven't actually taken a look yet at the EGC Civ draft. It depends on like how early you get your bans in. Like if you get like 2 bans before the first pick, or you just get 1 ban. I think I actually saw that you only get a single ban before the first pick comes in. So that makes it a lot more possible to get civilizations like the Rus, like HRE, like KT, because your opponent's got to decide, like, 1 out of the 3, which one do they want to ban? And that makes it a lot more difficult to deny strong civilizations from your opponent. So some will definitely make their way into the drafts a lot more often than we've seen in this tournament.
I feel like the amount of civs that we have that are good right now also has increased excessively. It doesn't feel like you just have those 3 civilizations that they're going after. There's a whole list of them that people need to be careful of. So now going into this, Byzantines is out, Malians is out. They've chosen them. I feel like Lucifron's draft just favors him a lot more in this series, especially with the maps that we see here. He's an absolute god on water, so I do not expect him to be letting Numudan go with Mongols into Imperial Age as what we have been seeing. Now, we are about a minute and a half out, so I will be putting up the graphic for you guys in a second so everyone can see who qualified, because I did see quite a few questions there. So, give me 1 second, boys. I will put it up for you all right now. All right, let's block ourselves. So, boys, these are the brothers who have made it through all the way and will be going to Copenhagen. So, Crackedy, looking at this list of players, who do you think will take the crown? Are we just all going for Marine Lord?
I mean, we do definitely have like the fan favorite here with Marine Lord, right? Like he already won the last big tournament that we had, right? So it's kind of like his crown sort of to defend once again. Louis MT also, like, he's been making a great impression, also winning the most recent LAN with the Garrison in Hamburg. So he's also one of the fan favorites for sure. It kind of feels like we're getting the boys back together in the LAN, like all the big names. We got Vortex, Papipaw, Wham, Beastie, Marine Lord. This kind of feels like similar to what we had at the first Red Bull again. So very hyped for that. Overall, I can't really decide like who I favor here in this one overall. Like there are a lot of very prominent names. I think it's pretty much just about anyone's game. We've also seen in a show match recently, like Papipaw versus Beastie, looking very competitive once again. So I think Papipaw and Wham, they probably practice a lot more together recently again. So they might also be able to like get a really good run in potentially. It's very tough to say, but I think I'm hearing the sound, so I guess we're about to jump into our first game between Lucifron and Numudan.
Oh, I forgot to activate the stinger. Ladies and gentlemen, with that sudden jump, we are in. And it does look like our Byzantine player is not going to go for a barracks opening. Wow. Now in this matchup...
Barracks opening here, yeah.
No, I know. This has been something we've been seeing a lot from Byzantines, or from a lot of Dark Age shenanigans from these different civilizations coming in. But with Malians and Byzantines, it's been pretty constant in this. We also have seen people like Anatan pulling out some pretty crazy things by going for the Hippodrome. But based on our position we see here, no crazy shenanigans as such will be taking place. At least, very unlikely, I guess.
Yeah, I think at the moment, like, something to take note of, Numudan, he's only gathering wood at the moment with 3 villagers. So he's kind of he's buying himself a little bit of time scouting with his own scout over on Lucifron's side at the moment. Want to see if there is actually like a Dark Age barracks going on. He also went for a double scout opening there early on. So yeah, he's actually denying a lot of the sheep here from Lucifron. Very interesting play, going for that double scout opening. Definitely makes me believe that he will want to go for pro scouts at this one. It just synergizes so well with Malian double scout opening.
Getting a Malian double scout opening is also not something I think most people would expect. So him seeing a scout run by, he definitely knows that, hey, that was a pretty heavy load of sheep, but he's about to run into this bad boy as well and be quite upset at seeing such big numbers. Now, with Malians, usually getting that macro up early game is probably pretty difficult, especially when you're going for this. And we see this now with the houses. So getting that extra scout in the early game does mean that you pay the price of not getting that extra wood for the extra houses that people usually get when they go for the professional scouting. But it definitely looks like he's going to be happy with the loot that he got from this. Numudan is going to be a very well-fed Malians. And this is probably the one thing that has shown us Malians has a weakness, and that's not getting enough sheep to be able to constantly pump out those units, especially early on.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Lucifron, he's still got a fair amount of sheep, and just courtesy of just how many sheep there are on this map, but Numudan definitely has gotten the lion's share in here. Behind this also delays the age-up timing a good little bit here from Numudan. So Lucifron, he's going to actually be able to age up first in this one, which is very interesting considering that he had those 2 villagers working on the stone mines, getting in those cisterns, and still getting the age up first. That has to feel pretty good for him, and kind of also like telegraphs him what kind of game plan that Numudan has here. I believe he must know at this point in time that Numudan probably did go double scout.
Yeah, when your scout returns that Baron, or not Baron as Baron, but definitely gives off some hints with him being able to scout the one on the one side of the map and then the other. Now, does this give him the warning that, hey, he's going to go for pro scouts? We'll see if he's going to be able to deny that. But we have been seeing, like I said, Byzantines just being pretty great at denying this in the early game. Now, there are 2 options here. People usually go for either the Limitanei or they go for Horsemen. So what do you favor in this matchup?
Definitely the Limitanei at the beginning. It's not really like advised to go for Horsemen straight away, typically. Not only do they take a while to kill warrior scouts, if at all, but also you do have the shield wall ability on the Limitanei, so they're going to be a great meat shield up against something like a javelin throwers, which we will 100% see from Malians. That's kind of like their key signature unit in Feudal Age and even in Castle Age. At the moment in the current meta, it's just a unit that scales significant, like really, really well with mass to the point where you can relatively quickly even start one-shotting horsemen. Meanwhile, if you have Limitanei, they're able to tank a lot more shots from javelin throwers than a horseman would even be able to tank.
That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, with that, he's just getting a reaffirmation exactly of what's going on here. And I'm wondering if seeing this initial archery range is going to be setting off any alarm bells. But getting double broadaxe for us as the god visioners, we will definitely say, hey, this is strange. Where are the pro scouts coming out of? Now, double broadaxe just means we're going to be getting a lot of archers pretty quickly. And we'll see. Oh, stable is the choice here.
Immediate reaction there.
He was keeping a close eye and he was ready for Numudan's shenanigans, because Numudan is actually a player who does pull out some pretty crazy stuff when he needs to, especially when he expects some things from his opponent. And from Lucifron, he definitely respects this man. He knows exactly what his type of playstyle is, and Lucifron just being on top of it and scouting. We see now the barracks being a nice follow-up, and that will probably take a while to kick in, but we already have 2 archers on the map, and a lot of gold there on the side of Numudan. Now this could just mean he's going to go for a delayed pro scout and force the units out of Lucifron. We'll see that in a second.
So far, this just looks like Numudan's game plan at the moment is he wants to get a couple of units out and then transition into a later pro scout here behind this. Is getting the mill in for that now as well. He already... okay, never mind, wheelbarrow. So wants to delay that pro scout even further. Doesn't have the stable yet, so it all makes sense. Archers also did go back, as Numudan did see what Lucifron was cooking up there, but something else that Lucifron's cooking up there. We're getting a second TC here from him. Byzantines on 2 TC. That's an interesting one. That's not something that you see every day up against the Malians.
Oh, for sure. And that's why initially when he pulled that third one on the stone, I looked at it and I was like, maybe it's just a build I'm not familiar with. But oh no, this man is actually pulling something I did not even imagine. A second TC for Byzantines usually just means that you're able to keep up with that heavy Malian economy once they go for the cows. But Numudan is not thinking about the cows just yet. He's thinking about getting upgrades and pushing. Now we'll see once he gets to that gold amount if he's going to be switching over to pro scouts. But again, he's spending them, and he's spending them on javelin throwers. So I'm a little bit scared here for Lucifron's chance at defending that second TC.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any military force whatsoever to speak of at the moment. First villager also just went down, so already kind of offsetting that second TC by a good 20 seconds now. And yeah, I mean, Numudan, he didn't go for the pro scout play, so he's got the tempo advantage at the moment. He's already got a good mass of units out. Lucifron only just now adding in that mercenary house for himself, and that means that it's gonna take a while for him to get units out, and by that point in time, Numudan's already going to have more javelin throwers. And this is the thing. When you make javelin throwers up against javelin throwers, it's the mass that counts. And if you don't have that mass, well, your opponent's going to have it because he's also Malian. He also gets the javelin throwers. And wait, that's not javelin throwers.
Those are longbows.
That's longbows.
Now, this is something that's quite interesting. I asked Beastie about this before. If I'm going against Malians, and do I go for javelin throwers or not? And one of the instances, he explained that if you do go for the javelins, like you said, it's all about the numbers. You're just going to get outmassed. But going for the longbows, you can still get a lot of functionality from them. So there are some cases where it definitely is worth it to go. And just like that, he gets out of position a little bit here, but he's very careful of these donzos, does get a little bit of damage and pulls back. But now those longbows, they're going to be very susceptible to this javelin thrower aggression, at least initially. We'll see if those numbers can get up, but as we know, he's pushed off of the berries, and this patch here at the back is not going to be lasting very long. Blacksmith, though, coming out now, and we'll see what he goes for first, but it must be a tricky one, because these javelins already have so much base damage. They are going to be tough to handle.
Oh, it's going to be able to kill one of those spearmen off. This is the very nice thing about just the amount of longbows that you do get as the Byzantines here from your mercenaries. You just need, like, the 5 longbows are enough to 2-shot villagers and spearmen. And once you get the second batch up, you're going to be able to start one-shotting them. So very, very nice having that amount in there. And yeah, Lucifron, he's getting very close to being able to afford a second batch. We do have a blacksmith behind this up for Numudan as well. So definitely telegraphs that he wants to put up aggression, but at the same time is floating a lot of resources, isn't pro-scouting, instead moved out to the tier on the map. I'm not sure, like, he's floating so many resources at the moment that it makes me think that he's not going for aggression. Maybe this is just, like, he invested a little bit and is now preparing himself for castle age timing.
And that's exactly why I'm looking at the numbers of the villagers, because that tells you where their head is at. And we did see a very low amount. We do see a little bit of an engagement there. The horses do go on the scouts because Numudan has slowed down just a little bit. And maybe Lucifron notices this. But you see now Lucifron getting a few more villagers on 2 gold. So this could spell either just full-on aggression, but I would say this is probably a fast castle. Or fast. I call this responsible castle. He sees his opponent aiming towards castle, and he does the same. We'll see now if he does get any more upgrades. So this army from Numudan, consisting mostly of javelin throwers, definitely makes a really good case for Farimba.
Yeah. We also don't have any cattle being put into cattle ranches instead of being eaten from straight away. So definitely kind of screams like a Firma. And there it is from our garrison coming in. Also does have that double archer range play. So definitely going to be able to scale more into that Manza Javelin Thrower army composition, which is kind of like very popular at the moment with the Marlins just because you get so much more movement speed on your units. It is great for kiting there. But still, looking at the army mass at the moment, Numudan definitely outmassed by a lot. Lucifron, he's gonna need like a solid 2 minutes in order to be able to get the resources that he needs for age up. He's actually floating a good bit of gold, realizes that instead is putting that into production, into upgrades, siege engineering coming in. Maybe he's gonna wait with the Castle Age a little bit, because Kira Siphon's one of the strongest like feudal age siege units in the game. Little army engagement coming in now, as well as we do have javelin throwers and horsemen fighting off against each other. It's always about these Donzos, like trying to get some hits in against the horsemen, and the longbows are going to try their best to focus them down. Looks like we already have the Manza upgrade in on these javelin throwers.
But
Damage is coming in though from the horsemen.
The horsemen are right on top of them. They're doing absolutely everything. The longbows doing an amazing job at picking off these poor Donzos. They tried their best, but the horses are taking a significant amount of damage here. So they do have to pull back, but it does feel like a good way to delay your opponent. The problem is just you delay them, but what's the plan now? Because now with the wood running out here, is he going to go back onto the berries? And we do see a mass migration of sorts. And the thing is, there was already a mini migration happening here, but now the question is just, does Lucifron have the time to get to castle himself? We do see that food economy did take a very big nosedive. As we see now, the berries have been completely depleted. And we'll see if these berries can sustain him for a bit longer. But this is a pretty scary set of units coming your way. Yes, there are 8 horsemen, but are they going to be enough to actually stop something like this? Especially when they're on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, this is actually going to be quite tough now for Lucifron. He's going to have to really just keep his unit safe up against Manza javelin throws. Like, these guys are really fast and they do a significant amount of damage, even up against like non-ranged units, which they are typically meant to counter out here. Being able to kite even a unit like the Horseman here just makes them so strong in this instance. And Lucifron, he's trying to still find some raids, trying to keep his opponent inside of his base, like forcing the Manza javelin throwers back. But Numudan, I'm not sure if he's biting at the moment, like, or if he continues pushing forward with those Manza javelin throwers, because in theory he can just get a couple of Donzos out and defend the space with that. The issue at the moment is wood for him. He doesn't have that much wood to just continually pump out Donzos, and that's kind of the thing that we mentioned earlier. Just these wood lines on this map can be really constricting for a player that has to spend 30 wood per Donzo. We do have a little clash, a little raid coming in. Wollo potentially as well. Doesn't look like any of the villagers went down there. And now Numudan, he's going to be able to start picking off some villagers underneath the TC here from Lucifron. Lucifron just got enough resources for the Golden Horn Tower, and he's going to rush that up with almost 30 villagers. It's a lot. It's a lot of value that he could get out of that one. We're also seeing the double outpost inside of the base here from Lucifron. He knows that he just needs to hold out for a little bit, and then he can still be fine, as he does have a significant villager advantage. Oh no.
Oh no, Crackedy. I cannot believe it. The tower does get upgraded the moment he spots this as well. And now the javelins are going to be making a sneaky movement towards the top side.
Other builds.
They're about to find a lot more. And with this, he does get the age up, but the horses, a few of them do take a little bit of damage. But now there's going to be more people in danger, I say, as the wolf gets targeted down first. First villager does get picked off, and it does mean that Lucifron is running for his life. But it does feel like that villager lead is his saving grace, right?
Oh yeah, Lucifron, he's in big trouble now. Like, if he loses those villagers, the entire villager lead is going to be more than just gone. It's going to be completely destroyed at this point in time. More villagers going down. The Manza javelin thrower is just such a great unit at picking off these villagers. 5 are enough to one-shot, and the poison arrow also helping him here in this instance. So many villagers just going down one after another. Lucifron still has a villager lead, even after losing all of those villagers now. But it is heavy damage here that Numudan managed to do to him.
Definitely. The problem is as well, those villagers were not. They were just running for their lives, but they were not fast enough because with these guys, they have the extra speed, they have that damage. It was just too much for these vills, and all of a sudden, the villager count is kind of equalized. And when you're playing against Malians, that is never a good feeling to have. You need to find a way to get ahead somehow, and you can see Lucifron's food is really struggling here now. He just started his farm transition now at going to be hitting 400 food per minute any second now, but the problem is he doesn't have the resources to actually make units to deal with this. Now, we are going to be going up against, you know, those wonderful Mangonel towers. The Mangonel towers, they have been known to perform magic, but we'll see if there's going to be enough magic for this. A lot of these horses are doing a little bit of work, but look at those javelins. They know exactly where to go.
Yeah, now we do have archers and veterancy longbows. Yeah, okay. That we do see a big villager pull coming in. But these Manza javelin throwers, they're very fast. They can actually outrun the villagers quite easily. So this is all just idle time. Meanwhile, Lucifron is easily able to just pick off a whole bunch of villagers here, time and time again. This is not worth it at all for Lucifron. We can see now that the economy count is almost dead even between the two players. Some Wallalos coming in on the map as well. Monk does get picked off, but Numudan behind us already has 2 relics in the bank and a third one coming in.
Now, these villagers, even though they were just fighting there, they probably did not have a lot of resources that they wanted to do, thinking that he could get some value out of them, pulling them as well. The problem is now Lucifron is just not able to produce any units here. We can see now the olive oil is being used to get more longbows, and he's trying and hoping that these can perform a miracle. But unfortunately, the income is pretty lacking right now, and you can see now he's desperately trying to get a little bit more wood, I'm assuming for just a bit more of a farm transition to get those olive grows pumping, because once they do, it feels a lot better. The second TC though, it's producing, and he might have a shot at getting those villager numbers back, but to the former glory that they were, this will be very, very difficult. With that horseman prowess he's had on the map though, he is able to do a little bit of damage. He's running around. He just hasn't gotten, you know, enough villager kills. Because when 29 villagers go down, it does feel pretty tough. And now the javelins are just going straight for them again. That second TC looks like it's not long for this world as well. Look at that poison absolutely ticking and doing so much damage. Even one of the villagers dying inside the tower. Now the longbows, they're going to try their best.
Horsemen trying to find the engagement, but we have reached more than critical mass at this point in time. Horsemen, they're just getting picked apart very, very quickly here. If not one shot, then the poison does do the rest, and the second TC going down as well at the point in time where Lucifron is actually behind in the numbers overall. Horsemen doing a decent job here when it comes to damage overall, and the longbows in their mass actually able to really effectively deal up against the javelin throws, as well as they do have just quicker attack speed here at the end of the day. But once those masses are starting to thin out, the bonus damage and the bonus armor from these javelin throws does really start to come into effect. And wave number 2 is just something that Lucifron does not have the tools at the moment to really deal with. He's also floating a lot of wood, just not able to get the map control for more farms. And there it is, GG comes in. Lucifron knows with that second wave arriving that he does not have the tools in order to deal with those Manza javelin throwers anymore, and that means game number 1 actually going over to Numudan here with not a defensive, but rather a very aggressive Malian play here.
And honestly, when I said earlier that Byzantines has been doing pretty well against Malians, it's been doing well against Malians who play in a very specific way. Numudan did not play the meta that we usually see out of Malians, which just shows he knows how to handle the meta himself. So definitely some pretty good choices here from Numudan. We can just see through all of this, he destroyed. That KD was pretty damn good.
Yeah, to note that most of that was also just villagers going down. So yeah, this massive like second TC villager advantage from Lucifron. In the end, the farm transition wasn't quite as smooth as it needed to be. Maybe also just need a couple of those mangonel emplacement outposts. And he did one of those mistakes that players can very easily fall into making. He thought he had map control. He thought that Numudan did not have villagers out on the map. And suddenly he sent like 30 villagers out on the map in order to gather resources. And once they've been found out, he just didn't have the map control in order to save those villages from going down. And just a massive, massive economy leak there in the end from him means that he is not able to win game number 1. But game number 2 coming in right now. And it is a very, very popular Civ pick at the moment here on this map in particular. 4 Lakes and Numudan getting the Mongols. And the Mongols with that fast Imperial Age meta at the moment, they just love to stick it out on hybrid maps that aren't connected, where the lakes aren't connected, where they can just comfortably get a couple of fish in and just boost up that age up timing to Imperial Age.
Oh, this has been such a difficult game for anyone who plays against Mongols. But if I have to put myself in as a betting woman, I would say that French is probably the civilization I can imagine being able to stop this. Because with French, you do have that tempo, right? You are able to actually shut down someone trying to be greedy because of your mobility. The thing is just Mongols, they do have quite a few answers to this. And I think the water is going to play a very significant role here in what Lucifron allows Numudan to do. So Lucifron has been a guy that if you see him on a water map, you're like, oh yeah, that's fine. He's got this. But Numudan, I don't think he's going to be underestimating anything the man does. The thing is just now, we'll see if Lucifron is able to keep Numudan at bay and not give him that fast imp. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to roll right in.
All right, and here we go. Game number 2, Numudan in the color red playing as the Mongols up against Lucifron in the color green with the French. And what do we have here? Very, very good spawn to start off here for Numudan with the Mongols. Does have a TC right next to that gold vein. Means that he is gonna be absolutely set when it comes for a potential age up in the direction of Castle Age and maybe potentially even Imperial Age. Lucifron on his side. Did he? Yeah, he did go for the pond. He did go for the dock there. Also going for a mill, just making use of that big reduction there in the wood cost on these economic drop-off buildings for the French, only having to pay 25 wood for that. And very early wheelbarrow as well. Lucifron, he's kind of cooking here with this French build on the hybrid map.
We'll see if this French build is going to work out perfectly, because it's always so iffy at the start when you're starting out and you're trying to get enough food for your upgrade.
This is gonna work out.
That's Lucifron. He will calculate it and he'll do it perfectly. So, you know, if there's
That's
one
the
man
thing,
I trust, it's Lucifron. Let's see, that TC idle, barely 3 seconds. That is definitely worth it, especially when you're playing French and your villagers already build a little bit faster. Now, Numudan going for a dock just a little bit later, so he is going to be a little bit behind on the fishing, but by a few seconds, right? So is this pretty standard in matchups, especially on this map, where you go for a delayed dock because of your uwu?
It is something that you can do because you also generate a lot of stone on the side, which means that by the time you hit feudal age, you will have enough stone for a dock emplacement, which can be very useful if your opponent does actually go for like an offensive dock drop. I'm honestly just very excited by this build here from Lucifron because he and Vortex, they just practice so much. And something that I really value with like something that Vortex does, he is a very theoretical player as well. Like on top of just being very good with like micro, obviously, and very good with aggression, like he practices his builds. His builds are efficient to the core. And that's the thing that allows him to put up aggression at insane timings where other players typically don't really expect that level of aggression. And him practicing with Lucifron makes me think that this is something that they've really practiced, like got the timings down. And this just means that we're probably going to see at some point in time, we're going to probably see like something that's going to make us say, okay, I did not expect him to hit the timing at this point in time.
Well, honestly, I can say that already. I did not expect him to hit that timing either at all. So he's already just constantly producing fishing boats. He has been doing this miraculously well. I did actually DM Vortex a few days ago, and I was like, hey, is Lucifron qualifying in the next qualifier? And he was like, well, yeah, we're practicing. So I can imagine these specific builds are something that they have mastered. And I really want to see how Lucifron executes this, because like you said, this the lineup that we have for this event is very similar to what we're seeing at what we saw at Red Bull Wallala, the first one for AoE. And it was just such an amazing event. To see all these names together, it would be an absolute honor to see all of them fighting it off yet again. But now, we'll see if Numudan does allow that, because we know the Mongols, they can also perform some pretty good miracles. And looking at these spawns, I mean, if you're playing French, you're gonna get knights, right? But there's not a lot of places to harass. Like you said pretty early on, the TC is in a very nice position, and Numudan is gonna have quite a little bit of an opportunity to harass if he wanted to.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is a thing on this map as well. This is where Mongols kind of shine with having that opportunity of going for a unit like the Mangudai. He's about to be able to click that age up now, and that will allow... Oh, look at that. Lucifron, he spots out the villager that Numudan has been sending out, is going to send out his own villagers now in return, and we're seeing a little bit of a shiv-on-shiv pull action going on here at the moment, but the Khan actually did significant damage already to that villager. Means that he's going to have to fall back. He's going to get replaced now by an additional villager. Yeah, they're going to have to tag team this one.
And they are coming
Numudan
with...
has to be so careful.
He is, and he's going to need to, you know, be able to call it if he needs to, but he does pull back the villager. Does leave the dock up for now. Villager does get pulled back. He knows his life is mostly in danger. We have 12 HP on this villager. Bets out, guys. Does the villager survive?
He's so dead. That villager is so dead, I want to say.
He's running.
Do we have another villager? Oh. Could be going. Yeah, there we go.
Rest in pieces.
Arrow in the back.
Now,
Numudan's villager is quite low now. He's not going to be able to finish that dock. Is Numudan going to send another villager? That's the real question here, because he hasn't deleted that dock yet, which makes me think that he might want to commit potentially with an additional villager here.
maybe just not at this point in time. We'll probably see some shenanigans later. Oh, Ida just cancelled it.
The wheelbarrow. Yeah, and I just noticed, like, the wheelbarrow actually makes such a big difference here because that villager is actually going to get chased down. Lucifron lost the villager, but he's also easily going to be able to catch up and kill this villager now as well.
He gets the kill. And now, dead even, he does build a wall and blocks the Khan out. Now we'll see if the fight is actually going to matter. It does get him to cancel this, but now the second dock coming down here for Numudan. He knows the villagers in the vicinity, but Lucifron at the same time. He's just sitting back and he's getting his water. He's like, man, have you seen me on water? You remember my water plays. And the dock is cancelled. Let's see what he does.
He wants to hide the villager. He wants to hide it, but the Khan finds it. Lucifron, he says, oh no, I can't get it. Instead, he's now going to choose to go for the dock on the other pond. He did initially place it there, then cancel it, and now that he knows, okay, he can't get it up on that side, he's going to get it up on his own pond.
That Khan has been very brave, though. And that's the one thing I'm really glad that we have in this game. Scouts can actually do significant damage against the Khans. And the wolf Crackedy. We have another wolf situation.
We've seen it earlier.
Oh, no. Okay, he does realize, though. Now,
Lucifron, he still wants to go for the dock.
He wants to,
but there's an archer ship.
That ship is going to stop him and is dead in his tracks. We'll see if the ship actually fully realizes, but Lucifron is the first one that realizes that he needs to back right off now. Now we can see that the first knight is out, and this is going to cause some pressure because this means that Numudan probably has to respond by making some kind of unit, and he does have his production.
That's what you would think.
Yeah.
That's what you would think, but he has the TC right next to the gold, so instead of responding him directly to the knight, he's just gonna try and make some Mangudai to raid his opponent.
But look at this. Do you see that villager split? Crackedy?
Yeah, this is a thing. Like, he's gonna go fast castle while just distracting with Mangudai now, and this is something that works just really well with the Mongols, right? Just being able to distract your opponent with a couple of Mangudai and get a really, really good age-up timing behind this now.
And the Mangudai just forces such a massive reaction from any civilization because you feel like, hey, I need to get a tower. Hey, I need to get units that can actually catch them. Oh, my knights aren't going to be fast enough for this. And you end up making archers, you end up making a tower, you end up investing so much that it delays you significantly. But let's quickly look at that split again. We see that Lucifron's still prioritizing a lot on wood, so definitely still feeling like he's on this lake for the long haul. But it doesn't look like Numudan is contesting any of his waters, but he is moving the deer stones forward, and it shows.
I like that.
He's looking for that speed. Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
I mean, the Mangudai, they get such a significant speed increase with those deer stones nearby, and yeah, now up to 5 Mangudai, actually 6 Mangudai already. Yeah, this is a significant amount. Doesn't have any blacksmith upgrades, so they aren't like incredibly strong at this point in time. I'm not even sure if it's like worth upgrading them to veterancy once he gets the Castle Age in. At this point, it's literally just to distract, literally just to annoy his opponent and have a good time to kill when it comes to finding villagers.
And even if he picks off just a few archers, it does feel like Lucifron needs to react a lot more than Numudan does to be even in this. Now the question is just, I feel like with this gold vein, if he does get the step, he should be able to even reach Imperial with this. But we'll see, he'll probably be able to move out. Now the thing is just, the reason I say this, we need to consider that he's playing against French. And when you're playing against French, they can punish you for going out on the gold, even if it's this close to your base. So he probably will not be wasting a drop of gold if he can help it. Because you need to make sure that you get as much as possible to reach that and let that Shaganate Palace start doing the work.
Yeah, Kagan Palace is an absolute menace here at this point in time, just because it immediately generates you so many units worth of resources. Lucifron behind this, he just keeps producing more and more knights, up to 8 now. I'm not sure if he can really find a time, because this is truly a ludicrous timing for the Castle Age to be coming in now on this hybrid map, right? Like, having 10-minute Castle Age timer with the step readout now, Lucifron just can't really keep up there with the timing here now. Castle Age does hit, Lucifron is sending his knights around, tries to get a little bit of harass going, but we immediately have the double Springled emplacement coming in. At Numudan, he's already got 2 outposts inside of his base. He really knows so well just how to play around with these just static defensive buildings inside of his base, just how much greed he can get away with.
Now, the knights are very much looking forward to snacking on a few villages, but like you said, those towers are getting reinforced. The Khan Arrow doing amazing work at just ensuring that these vills are not left alone. They are going to need to pay the price for actually just producing. Now, we do see that Numudan he's edging towards Imperial so quickly. And with that split, you definitely know this man is feeling comfortable. It feels like Lucifron needs to invest a lot more to actually get there, and he does get Steeled Arrow, and now going for Siege Engineering, he says you're gonna have to pay for this. You're not getting this for free. He does get the Uwu, and that will mean that he's not gonna be able to get those double production, but I honestly don't think he needs to. Just look at him, he's going right into these wood lines and picking off so many villages. We already have 5 going down now, possibly 6, and this is such a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, indeed, Lucifron. He's getting delayed quite heavily here. The thing that Lucifron can do now, or rather one of the main reactions that I like to see from a civilization that is up against the Mongols now, is you just gotta go for a lot of rams. You gotta get like 3-4 rams out, and then the second your opponent gets that Imperial Age in, you gotta dive. You gotta dive and you gotta destroy the landmark. Once you destroy the landmark, there aren't gonna be any free units coming in. It is similar to just when you play up against like Ottomans, for example. You just gotta get this, you get this rage induction. Like, you just see those military scouts and you're like, oh my god, those are the things that are producing all those units, and you just gotta take it down.
And it does look like that push will be swift. I know Numudan has been practicing a lot for this, so to see he has some kind of answer for this is quite refreshing. He did have to pull off of gold for a little while at least. We still do not see a tower here. He's investing everything into wood, not going to be getting distracted by these measly little things. Shaganate Palace now being put down on the opposite side, but the knights now have a target.
They do have a target, and we don't have any blacksmith upgrades at all from Numudan. So, sure, these outposts have Springle emplacements, but they're not fortified at all. They can be taken down oh so easily. And the TC workers, the workers inside the TC, all these arrow shots that are coming out, they don't have any additional damage. These are just the base 6 damage arrows that are coming in. So the knights with 4 armor at this point in time will only take 2 damage from every single arrow tag. Now the archers will take more damage, so they have to be really careful here, actually. But the Rams, yeah, that's a lot of villagers going down now. And as soon as the Age-Up comes in, Lucifron knows, okay, there are some villagers out there on the map. Something must be going on. They must be somewhere. Is he gonna send those Rams out now in order to find the Kaganet Palace? Doesn't look like it, but yeah, Numudan, he's gonna be really feeling it now. He should be struggling at this point in time, and oh no, this is like Russian roulette at this point in time. He pulled the trigger, and it's a huge pow.
The worst scenario for this poor man, and he got it. He picked a cheesy civilization, and unfortunately, when the cheese got unveiled, it stank. So he is not going to be able to get anything useful out of that, initially at least.
The villagers are out.
They don't fit in the town center little cartwheel, so they do need to run, but the knight is right on top of them. Numudan is losing a lot here, but we have seen worse placements from Mongols and still make it back. The thing is just, it doesn't look like any of them. Yeah! It doesn't look like Lucifron is going to be any of that. He definitely looks like he's happy.
Monks. Well, we got a Bouchon. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
We're coping. We're coping.
We actually saw Mongols win games in way worse positions than this.
Okay, yeah, the Bouchon. The Bouchon changes things actually dramatically now. Can we get a second Bouchon? Dude, it actually changes everything. The Bouchon just makes such a big difference here.
The problem is just there's so few villagers here, and he needs to keep all of those alive. The knights, they don't care. They're going right on top of him. Lucifron behind this, he's going for castle himself. But you can see these knights, they are just looking for death. And the warrior monks coming out. Next up is something useful. But a little bit too late.
Oh, Institute coming in next. If only we could have another Bouchon, but Numudan, he is completely dry when it comes to the gold income at the moment. Warrior Monks managed to take down the last ram there. But we are getting that Royal Institute in now, and at the end of the day, right? Like, once Castle Age hits, Lucifron, he's got the option of getting out his own trebuchets, and with that, he doesn't really need to respect water all that much anymore. He can just go for the landmark snipe, and right now he can just burn down the remaining production buildings here from Numudan, who is now moving out to the gold mine at the bottom there, because he desperately needs some more Bouchons to come out. Next up, we are going to be getting, yeah, okay, looks like he just got a couple of actually useful military units, some elite Mangadai and Khan Hunters. And next up, also some Palace Guards, but
a little bit too late.
I gotta say, this is not the most favorable position at the moment for Numudan to be in.
Yeah,
there might just be a little writing on the wall right next to the word Gullible.
No, honestly, when I said that, I did not expect it to go this badly afterwards, but Lucifron, he knew how to handle it. He definitely pulled his knives out, pulled those lances out, and he just charged right in.
Relics.
He's getting
no,
the
but he's actually using the warrior monks now to get the relics as well. You know, if life gives you, it's not lemons at this point in time. This is what are like the real? I don't know the direct translation in English. The really prickly. Okay, I gotta actually look at this one.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the English word for it either. We might need Twitch chat here, guys. So it does look like he's going to be able to go out on the map and try to find some damage. The thing is just, if those Mangadai run into any boys over here, they're not going to be long for this world. And now he's getting more horse archers. So this is starting to look nice as far as units coming out goes, but not when you are, you know, half the eco supply. So it does feel a little bit tougher. But he does get to pick off a few villages. Unfortunately for him, he's got a truck full of units running right at him.
Yeah.
Now, he does have only one of these guys, and he hasn't invested into another one. So if he does get another Bouchon, what is the name, Crackedy?
I got the name, and I got the perfect analogy.
Okay,
if life gives you chestnuts, maybe don't try to juggle them.
Okay, guys, that will be it. Thank you for watching the stream. No, I honestly did not know chestnuts were prickly.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh.
They got a very, very prickly shell around them.
Okay, we might need to check this one. I feel like most of Twitch chat, they're also kind of sus about this right now. Oh, But it does look like...
Google it, chat.
Google it, chat. We need you guys for this. No, I see people are still spamming giveaway. Guys, the giveaway is not open yet. We will open it after this next series. And we will be giving away another set of earbuds later on today. If you are interested in watching the VOD backwards, we will be linking it in the chat pretty soon. So it's not available on Twitch right now, but you will be able to watch it over on YouTube. Now, Lucifron, he is... he's ready to cook. And I feel like with these Royal Institute nights, he is going to be cooking something a little bit spicier than the usual people handle in Sweden. Now, for those of you who don't know, Numudan, he's reigning all the way from Sweden. And Lucifron, you know, from Spain, he knows how to handle his spice. That's why he's ready to serve something up. But for now, just defending with the knights. Doesn't want to lose too many vills. They do block him off, and this is a major pickup.
The quick wall. Amazing quick wall coming in here. Lucifron also actually getting really close to potentially going for the Imperial Age up.
That would be pretty disgusting. Especially at this point. Oh my gosh, Crackedy, did you see that?
A third one!
Just what
We're
he
getting
needed.
triple Hu pow. Oh no. I've had a game where as soon as I aged up, I got 4 Hu pows in a row with Mongols.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I was up against Jigglypuff, so I still managed to win. But yeah, that's an experience that you don't want to have.
Now, I love the fact that Numudan, even though he's got all the Hui pals, he doesn't have much else going on right now, except for this tiny little wood line he's been on. Getting another archery range as well. He still has hopes, dreams, and a lot of memes. We can see him now going for hand cannoneers. And honestly, at least he's not juggling the prickly pear. Or not the prickly pear, the... what was it? Chestnuts. Thank
Chestnuts.
goodness. Nice. Thank you, Crackedy. Alright. Now, it does look like these guys are going to be a little bit delayy. They do cause a significant delay, but we do have a red palace coming up now.
Oh.
And inside the base. So no more of this allowed, he says.
Yeah, something interesting. Numudan only just now is getting military academy in. This is one of the most important. I thought Hu pow!
Wow.
But military academy at least is gonna make them come out faster. That was needed the entire time, because you can just boost up the Kaganate's value so much by getting military academy in. It is such an insane boost to the resourcefulness of that building.
Now imagine with that, he's going to be able to get another Hui pal at the speed of light.
Imagine that. Dude, that would be crazy. If he gets another Hu pow, that would actually be crazy.
I wish someone would just
At least he can
forfeit.
take down the palace with that.
Oh, that red palace is going to be looking like it's made of paper. Ladies and gents, put your bets in the chat. It's about to go right through. We have warrior monks. Second best. Oh no. I don't think Numudan banked on this, Crackedy. Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no. Look at these knights. They're so scary. They're elite. Oh, these Hui pals are just going to be collapsed right upon. The hand cannoneers, though, they could provide a little bit of protection. The red palace won't be a bother. But now, you can see, even the archers are getting upgraded. So this is going to be a really tough spot to be in. But we've got Nest of Bees. Crackedy, there's hope again.
There is hope. Nest of Bees. I mean, that's definitely just one of the units that is just such a high value from the Kaganate Palace, because it immediately has the Imperial Age unique upgrade on it, where you're going to be firing 3 additional rockets from that one. Now, Lucifron, with the elite upgrade on his archers, he's going to actually have some really good units here, even up against the hand cannoneer, the mass hand cannoneers from Numudan. Numudan, is he going to try? Yeah, he's actually going to try and get some docks up on Lucifron's pond here. Wants to do some damage to the economy. Lucifron, though, he's got an archer ship. Is that going to be enough, though, against the Hu powers here as well?
No. I think the range is a little bit shorter. Yeah. A little bit shorter than the Hui Pal. No, it does look like that dock was made of paper, but the thing is, there's a big fight happening, and it looks like those knights are just going to be too much.
Yeah, it's a very tanky unit here with the Royal Knights. They already do have Royal Bloodlines courtesy of the Royal Institute, and the hand cannoneers don't do any bonus damage to them. The front line has been completely eviscerated. The 4 Hu Pows they don't really contribute too much here. Numudan knows it, and GG is going to come in. Lucifron able to equalize the set now in game number 2.
That felt dirty. A little bit dirty from Numudan, but Lucifron practiced against this. He knew what was coming, and he found a way to break right through. But to be fair, poor Numudan had a lot of bad RNG there. I felt kind of sad to see him just losing it as he went on. Poor guy. No, the villagers, guys, when those knights dove... Oh no.
There's a slight dip in the graph.
Slight. It's like a little mountain. It's like a pretty good ski slope. Wait. We need to look at that ski slope again. Crackedy, do you ski?
I did in the past, but I just have that image in my mind of tripping and breaking both my legs, so I don't ski. No,
okay,
I don't actively ski.
So I think I would classify this as a little bit of a black slope, and I feel like that's exactly what the man went through. Poor guy. And then this was just not, it was just smeared on top with a little bit of a hui pal, unfortunately. And he did try to make it back there at the end, but the thing is that army value was just so damn different. So that slope looks like broken bones. Oh, definitely. Now, guys, that was game 2. And this means that we have some pretty solid civilizations waiting for us, because Rus and China. We actually, or not we, you and Sassy casted a game with Rus and China. Tell me about the matchup. What do I need to know as a lowly little conqueror player?
So basically, in this matchup, both civilizations are very, very strong, but they have their kind of like individual timings at which points their strengths kind of shine more. So China is a better scaling civilization, typically, but Rus, they got a very good timing early on. I want to say like the first 15 to 18 minutes into the game, because they get a faster castle age, they just get more units out, they don't have to do farm transition as early, just courtesy of the high trade house, while China does scale better long term thanks to the imperial officials, and also if they get Song Dynasty, just faster villager production. If Rus is able to do significant damage in the first 15 to 18 minutes, they typically come out ahead, but if they're not able to really do meaningful damage in the first 15 to 18 minutes, if China doesn't mess up in like large-scale fights, they should be pulling ahead the longer the game moves on, just courtesy of the better economy scaling long-term.
Yeah, no, but with a map like Coastal Cliffs, the question just becomes, is this just a battle for the pro scouts at the start as well? Does this force Rus to actually make units to deny the pro scouting from China? Or does it just become a battle of the scouts? So in a matchup like that, would you be seeing a little bit of feudal age units coming out from your perspective?
I think it depends on like where the deer spawn. If they spawn on 2 different sides, then it's just like get your deer in as quickly as possible. If they all spawn on the same side, then you could go for a little bit of feudal age aggression. But I do believe that it is time for us to see for ourselves what exactly it's going to be, as we're going to be jumping in to game number 3 now between Lucifron and Numudan.
Very nice, guys. Let us hop in.
I gotta say, I love that sheep. The stinger with the sheep and the headphones on, it's so great.
We actually sacrificed that headset, guys. That is a Steelseries headset that we got. Tommy in chat put it on a sheep at his mom's house, and we got the recording done. But it was at the price of a beautiful.
It's not AI.
So it's real art, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
We do see this early game pretty standard, just scouting a little bit. We do not have any barrack shenanigans as to be expected from these 2 civs. Not any Dark Age shenanigans usually coming out of these bad boys. The double hunting cabin coming out as well.
Oh, it's a great spot for Numudan. The double woodlines here, that's perfect for a high trade house in between.
I was going to say, this is going to be the most fun castle age of any Rus player. Oof! I would want to be Numudan in this. Now, if I look at Lucifron's situation, though, I do feel like his position is not too bad either. It does feel like a very easy spot to wall off, easy spot to defend, but it does feel like there's a big gaping hole here for a bunch of horse archers, though, once the game gets there, right?
Yeah, once Cav Archers are in there, like you want to have walls up ideally by that point in time, or at least a lot of outposts. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself in that position where your army, as China, is a good bit less mobile. Rus, they typically make a lot of cavalry, which is why I emphasize that if the game goes longer, China, they get the ability to or rather they have the potential of walling up and take the mobility factor out of the matchup up against Rus. That's when they really start pulling ahead. But until that happens, like Rus with the mobile raiding units, with the early knights, with the tempo that they've got going on at the beginning, that's where they kind of shine in this matchup. Numudan now also investing into additional scouts here. Could potentially, well, there might have been a thought about at least luring the first deer pack in, but Lucifron, he's making quick work of that. Is going to be taking down a lot of these deer here early on in front of Numudan's base.
Yeah, his brother is definitely someone who's very, very adept at deer pushing, and I think he would have had a lot of practice to know, I just don't want to mess with this. I'm gonna go back, I know that this is gonna be multiple scouts, I have enough sheep, let me just go and do something with it while I can. So, denying this, and you can see the scouts were on their way to start pushing as well. Lucifron sniffed this out like that dirty cheese he sniffed out the previous game. Now, the Imperial Academy coming up here at the front, built with 4, pretty fast. At the same time, Golden Gate was 6, also pretty quickly here, but we'll see now. These boys going for the straggler trees, trying to get that wood coming in pretty quickly for the pro scouting. Now, we'll see if Lucifron does any early game shenanigans, especially with these guys 3 on gold, if he goes for that instant pro scouting, or if he's going to go for a little bit of the land presence to deny what Rus loves to do.
Yeah, getting those pro scouts in definitely one of the priorities here for Rus. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly Lucifron's game plan is against that, as he hasn't actually moved that many villagers over to wood yet at this point in time. Just 2 villagers, and there we go. Age-up comes in immediately. We do see those 4 villagers that did build up that Imperial Academy are going to move over to wood now. He's going to need a good bit of wood if he wants to be able to research pro scouts, which I do believe is something that he is going to aspire here. First couple Imperial officials coming in now as well to start supervising all of these drop-off buildings and, just get a lot of the gold in that has been bunkered inside of these buildings by now.
And that is a very healthy load of gold. You can see, timing it perfectly here to pick it up, drop it down. See that wood coming in hot as well, dropping it down so quickly, and with all the gold in this arsenal, he's probably feeling pretty happy. Now, on the Rus side, just aged up, let's go see how quickly that pro scouting is going to be, but it feels like Lucifron might just be starting, I was going to say might just be starting before him, but no, Numudan knows his timings just as well.
Well, if he clicks it, there we go, has been clicked now, but Lucifron, yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to start it earlier. He just needs to get it in first, because he does have that supervision at the end of the day. He is able to get that little bit of gold from the taxes now as well. And there we go. Supervision is coming in on that mill. We see Numudan actually opening up with an archery range here. That is questionable, to say the least, because if Lucifron... Did Lucifron make a barracks yet? I don't think he's made a production building yet.
So,
Lucifron, I think, is just going to make a stable. There we go. And now the archer range is just completely useless, because Lucifron, he can just spam scouts, and once he sees the archer, it's just 1 horseman.
And that singular horseman is going to be so cheap for him compared to what an extra barracks is going to cost you. Ooh. So we see Numudan now going for that barracks as well. Double production building definitely ramps this up a little bit, but it does cost him quite a lot, I would say. This is also you constantly dealing with getting to castle age pretty fast, but in this case, it is quite a responsible castle to have. We do see the 3 scouts already in position, about to go pick up their first loot, and we'll see if he does get a yoink. He does get a full yoink off. Very nice. First yoink of the game.
Yeah. Lucifron behind this is now also adding in his own archer range, and with the supervision, just being able to pump out these archers incredibly quickly is such a big advantage here for Lucifron. And the thing is, he kind of knows that Rus isn't really incentivized in the early stages of a pro scout battle to add in their own stable, because they get their scouts from the hunting cabin. So why add an additional stable unless, of course, your opponent's going for archers, which is going to be the case here. But Numudan, he already invested a lot into these different production buildings, into the archery range, into the barracks. So he might not really be too incentivized here to change up right now and just go into the stable instead. Might just want to consider like just continue pumping out these archers instead of adding in horsemen now as well.
Now with these archers, you can see this is just a little bit of pressure, but the deer will make it a little bit closer to the base, and it does get hard to spot these as the time goes on. But he does drop it, not going to be a greedy goose, and just join his army here at the back. 4 archers now against the 5, and plus a horseman. I know there are some spearmen in the mix here, but it just feels like with the micro from Lucifron, he's going to be able to make quick work of these spearmen coming his way. Now, they opt not to fight just yet, going a little bit backwards, just to ensure that everyone is joining the fight at the right time. But now, they just saw that deer carcass being picked up, and he knows that thing belongs to him. He does not want to hand that guy over too easily. Now, the archers instantly onto the spearmen, and we see the horsemen treading forward as well. Perfect microing backwards, as we see from Mr. Lucifron.
Yeah, just like that, Numudan, he's gonna have to retreat way back into space. Should at least be able to secure that last deer carcass. And with that, I mean, right now his sights are going to be firmly set on going for Castle Age, as I don't think he's going to try and really invest more into Feudal Age military now. He's just got to give up, lick his wounds, and at the end of the day, once he gets that high trade house up, he's still going to be able to continuously spawn in those deer from that landmark. So his food income is by no means going to be weak, but it does mean that Lucifron is going to overall secure a lot more deer here compared to him.
Now, getting that extra bit of deer as China does feel really, really good, and especially helps you to outlast that initial power spike that you get from the Rus. So the high trade house being in a pretty safe position as well. We see the second archery range being added now as well.
Yeah, so it looks like Numudan is going to go for that cavalry archer play we talked about earlier. It's just very good. You get a lot of mobility out on the map as well. And Imperial Palace, actually, like Lucifron, he is very, very close with his own age up. And, you know, China, they do like to build a little bit faster just because they got the tools for it. They know how to hit with the hammer a little bit quicker than other civilizations. And, yeah, that's why the Imperial Palace is going to be actually coming in at a very, very good point in time here for him. So not a big age up advantage at all when it comes to the timing here for Numudan. And Numudan actually like still denying some of the pro scouts here with just his own scouts.
And this is a very good position to be in. You want to deny China as long as possible. The problem is just the power spike is about to start. We see the veteran upgrade instantly with the supervision. It is going to be very, very quick. As you guys can see, 18 seconds left to go. And as I'm speaking, it's probably already finishing. Now with these archers, they are doing amazing work. But we'll see the horse archers and if they can actually do some work here. Because now with the monastery, I feel like this is where Lucifron is actually able to deny most of what's coming from Numudan.
Yeah, he does definitely have the tools for it. Now, Cav Archers, they do come with a lot of mobility, but Numudan, he hasn't actually been able to really get a great mass of them going right now. Instead, he's been investing into Monastery as well, as he does want to secure relics. The question is, can he really do that at the moment? Just because Lucifron, he's got such a prevalent mass of units going for himself, also added in his own Monastery now.
And you can see the yoinking now happening from the other side. Every bit of deer that he gets now is pretty massive. Although Numudan is probably pretty okay with the food for now. The problem is just, I feel like this army is just so much better at the moment. The Chinese economy really shining, and you can see how many resources are in the bank here. Now, he does pick off a few of these archers as well, and I just don't know how Numudan is going to try and mass this up. He does go for a stable, finally, and that will mean he will get some knights in there too. So Numudan definitely at a bit of a disadvantage here right now because of Lucifron's prowess, and he's just controlling every side of the map here. But the question is just, is he going to be able to do the damage or not take any damage when the horse archers go to his side of the base?
At the moment, Numudan can't really afford to leave his own base, because if he does, he's just gonna get swarmed in his base by these horsemen, and he doesn't really have that great of a mass to push out with as well. he's very far away at the moment, I want to say, from the critical mass in order to start one-shotting these horsemen, which is really where you want to be at. We do see the first couple of knights now coming. Can we take a quick look at that high trade house, see, with its great position here, how much it's actually generating?
I'm just going to ask
suggestions
Twitch
in the chat.
Twitch chat first, guys. We need your guesstimates. If you get it right, that's a perma ban. I am modding this channel, so be careful. We'll take a look in a second. That's gonna be one. Ooh, that's a nice one. That is a very nice
181,
one.
yeah. It used to be like before like the tuning on the high trade house. That spot would have probably given around like 350, maybe even 400 gold per minute. Used to be really crazy. Now it's a lot more linear in the scaling.
It feels like it was necessary. I remember those Rus games where they would just sit back, relax, and just get a high trade house. Now, I do see that someone here does get a permaban. Congratulations, guys, for guessing correctly. Now, Lucifron, though, he's on the wood line. And that one little tower is not going to be doing much against this push that he's got going. Now, the thing is with those horsemen, they're not your typical diving unit. Numudan does have a very heavy amount of horse archers behind this, but they don't do that well in a head-to-head fight.
We don't actually have any economy upgrades at the moment outside of Wheelbarrow for Lucifron. No blacksmith upgrades either. Those are only just now coming in. Is also starting to add in some crossbows now at this point in time. Not just a couple, he's queuing up quite a bunch of them now, as he does suspect, or rather did see, the first couple of knights coming in for Numudan. But yeah, Numudan at the moment, he's already got to add a couple of farms, as he is suffering right now from the withdrawal of the deer.
And running out of food this early on definitely feels quite tough to handle. He will get another deer or two popping out every now and again, but the problem is just he needs resources and he needs it now. He needs to constantly produce, and he's so struggling so much to stay on top of this. But with those horse archers, we just haven't seen them be horse archers, you know? We haven't seen them raid. They've been stuck in the base, and that's the power of Rus. You're supposed to be able to keep your opponent on his toes, even when they're in front of your base. Lucifron, knowing he doesn't need to commit here, pulls back. He knows he's still a little bit ahead, and we'll see if he is a little bit more conservative as those deer are starting to get less and less.
Pretty big issue here at the moment for Numudan as well is that his opponent got 4 of the 5 relics, which you don't want to see happen if you're Rus and you age up first. Especially since you have the warrior monks, right? Like, you have the faster religious unit, but in the end, not being able to secure the relics here means that long term, this is a game where China just scales so much better, and we are approaching that 15 to 18 minute mark that I talked about earlier, where I think at this point in time, the odds are shifting dramatically for China more and more as the game goes on. And look at that keep. Oh my god, this, okay, yeah.
Lucifron, don't tease me.
He knows what's going on. He knows that Numudan didn't get quite as many units in. He knows that his army composition just straight up counters what Numudan has out on the field. He also already has textiles, so this keep, it's gonna go up. It's a classic get out of my game keep here right now. Checkmate move about to be made. Crossbows are in as well, so these knights don't really stand too much of a chance. Cav archers trying to kite back, horsemen trying to go for the connection, trying to catch up with them. Can't quite manage to keep up there, but now with the keep going up as well, Numudan, I don't think he can realistically stay here right now. Destruction value is looking good for the moment, but that's going to change dramatically once those trebuchets are going to come in and start taking down the infrastructure from a position where Numudan can't realistically take them down too easily.
This feels so dirty to watch, and Lucifron now, he's just pulling the villagers back. He's like, oh yeah, now you guys are done, thanks, I've got my siege workshop, now I just keep going. And more villagers.
The Bovilles.
They're gonna die, Crackedy. Twitch chat, let's say, oh, never mind. Lucifron is a merciful god today. He decides to spare the boys, and they will be allowed to eat the boar for another day. Poor guys. They probably were very scared in there.
Definitely must have been. Oh, we got one lone villager a little bit out there, but Lucifron, once again, being merciful, does choose not to go for that one. But the army from Numudan might be a little bit out of position here, as we do have horsemen trying to jump onto that trebuchet. Archers going for it now as well. And there might be enough units here, enough range units even to get that trebuchet down. Villagers are being pulled. Mass repair is coming in. At the same time, archers now switching over to the cav archers are able to take down a good chunk of them. But in the end, are going to retreat for the time being. And we do have Numudan now with that one trebuchet firing away, but lots of villagers did go down. All the boar villagers. Numudan a little bit distracted there for the time being, did lose all of them. And now it's 41 to 57 economy units. Lucifron, he isn't preparing his own trebuchets. He's just going straight for the nest of bees.
And it makes a lot of sense, right? You want to pull the army the one way, nest the bees on top of them, because you know that their cavalry is not looking too good right now. Yes, there are horse archers, but they don't deal too well with those nest of bees. But we do see the lancers and the horsemen getting caught out a little bit here. It does feel like Lucifron is a little bit overconfident right now. And honestly, it would be comic justice if this turned around and bit him. But it doesn't look like he threw the game too much just yet. He does need to be careful though, because this is a very slippery slope. No farm transition, food is running out. So that is a little bit of a ticking time bomb, and this is where Roos has a shot at maybe making it back.
Yeah, Numudan managed to somewhat stabilize, or at least managed to deflect the damage from that keep. Lucifron behind this, he is still in Tang Dynasty. No Song Dynasty for him at the moment. Without Song Dynasty, he doesn't actually have access to granaries, so he can't get the great food transition in that China is really known for. He's gonna, if he wants to do a food transition, it's gonna have to be like a budget food transition. We do have another fight going on right now. Double nest of bees. They are a little bit slow. They do take a while when it comes to moving forward. Numudan now also finally going for horsemen. This is the unit that he really needed all along here, able to counter out both the archers, crossbows, and the enemy horsemen, as he does have Boyar's Fortitude in. And actually, Lucifron, he's struggling now. His food income is completely gone now. He didn't manage to get the transition in. He's floating a lot of resource behind this nest of bees, get some good shots in. But the horsemen are able to jump onto the range backline now. No frontline available from Lucifron. He's trying to get some spearmen in now as well. But it's just not going to be enough. Lucifron, he's been caught with the hands in the cookie jar. This is escalating very quickly now. Numudan, he's pushing back the entire military force now from Lucifron. Double outposts here, trying to defend the boar play that he was on. But it's not really that much DPS, as there aren't any emplacements in them. And Lucifron is losing his entire army. This is suddenly just going in a complete reverse direction from what I expected there to happen. Numudan behind us has added in a second TC as well, and while Lucifron still has an economic advantage when it comes to the economic mass, the income does not reflect that.
This feels so tough, because this is now just throwing the one shot he's had at taking this game. Every little bit of resource that he spent on that keep could have been used on an emplacement, and this would have been a very, very different point in time. Overcommitting. This is going to be a tough one for Lucifron to get back in on, because right now, as you guys can see, he's starved. Just like Crackedy was saying, there's just no food he can fall back on. While Roos, on the other hand, he's got a handful of farms, adding that second TC. He's got the deer popping out every now and again, and even though he's not in a great position, he's in a much better position than Lucifron.
More outposts being rushed up right now. Thankfully, Lucifron is playing as China, so he can get these outposts up lickety-split. That's a lot of villagers being committed right now just to gather wood. Lucifron, he needs a farm transition. He needs food. He is getting food in from those from that boar, but the trebuchets actually did take down the double outpost there. Villagers on the run now did at least get the drop-off in. But Lucifron, he's on roughly 200 food per minute at the moment, and that was just from the last from last boar drop-off. So it's nothing really too significant here. Villagers seeking shelter.
They will find some,
Oh my god,
but
this is so tough.
the idle time behind this Crackedy, it just feels like Lucifron got himself into a very impossible situation. He's got the market now. Let's see, he's bought some food with that market, which is something you don't usually see unless there's some very clever Imperial shenanigans happening. But now the horse archers are finally doing what horse archers do. They are going and raiding and actually getting a little bit of damage. Now the villager count is not equal, but it will be pretty soon. Archers getting caught out.
The front side. They're all going down. Lucifron got caught slacking for 1 second. and he's going to lose a lot of military for it. The destruction value, 15,000 to 9,000, closer to 16,000 actually behind this.
Now this feels like an impossible situation to come back from, but Lucifron, he is holding strong. You can see he's very confident that he has a shot. Maybe not that confident, but he definitely wants to get every bit of resource he can, quickly farm transitioning. The thing is just, this becomes a very exposed area again, and he will need to make a plan to try and make this safe. The problem is just, it doesn't look like Numudan is going to give him that time. That manor keep may have taught the wrong player the manners, because now the relics are under siege as well. And that's 240. Oh, that's 240 of all the gold he's getting at the moment. And that is going to be a huge dent in his economy. And if we see any yoinks coming, we might be calling it the second yoink of the game. It does. He should be able to yoink a few of these back, getting them back to safety, but this feels so tough. He's going a little bit deep for that mangonel, trying to get a lot done, but the horse archers are here. They're going to be picking off a bunch of these spearmen at the front line, and just like that, the archers will be exposed right after. The horsemen are waiting patiently to collapse on them. They're getting closer to the backline. Spearmen are trying to kite backwards as well. You can see the archers are just trying to target fire those horse archers, but it feels so tough. And now horsemen in the back line here too probably won't get too much damage done. Relics trying to find a place back into the base, but there's just so many horsemen and he does not have an answer for them.
Yeah, mass archers now as well from Numudan, so the spearmen just all getting shut down so quickly here. 14 military units remaining for Lucifron. No food income really to speak of here at the moment. No siege to get him out of this very dangerous situation now. Numudan, he's just starting to dive deeper and deeper, and it feels like Lucifron, he just missed the window in order to end the game, and now Numudan's ruse, it just managed to pull ahead. Just the army loss in between was a little bit too much. And there it is. GG is getting called. Numudan able to take the lead now in the series. That is crazy from where we saw the game open up from.
That felt like Lucifron had all of the control in his hands, and he just let it slip by being a little bit too confident under that TC. It is a very scary tale to tell, just like that. You can see Numudan lost a significant amount, got that second TC, and worked his way back up. And slowly, the resources gathered. I want to see this, because I know Lucifron was ahead slightly, but yes, you can see. As the food ran out, less and less, it started to get very hairy. So, Numudan showing he knows how to stay in his base, even with a civilization that is supposed to be that tempo, right? But now, he stayed in his base, held back, and attacked at the perfect time when Lucifron was ready to overcommit.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking back at this, and I feel like maybe the Nest of Bees play there was not the best choice there from Lucifron. He also lost a lot of his units just from not fighting underneath the keep after he got it up. In this position, something that's usually, or rather, if you play it systematically, probably the safer approach. You got to keep up right in front of your opponent's face. Now's the point in time in order to get like a couple of trebuchets out, because your opponent can't realistically dive the keep for too long to take those trebuchets out, and you can always just body block on top of them. And that's when you can take down so much of the infrastructure in the opponent's base, especially against Ruse. That is quite strong, especially on a map as well, as there's only very limited wood lines where you can have access on. Yeah, I mean, Numudan, he just played it very well, very patiently, knew what he had to do in order to come back into this one. And in the end, he managed to catch Lucifron off guard when that food ran out. And yeah, that's how the cookie crumbled on that one. But next up, it's going to be Kawasan. We'll be seeing Ayubits up against the Zhuji's Legacy. It's also going to be an interesting one, but this is match point now for Numudan.
And it feels like all of the stakes are focused here on Lucifron, because Lucifron is one of the favorites to make it through here. So him losing in this round, he will not then be moving on to the double elimination, which does feel pretty scary at this point, right? So, but guys, actually, before we start yapping,
this is already double elimination.
Oh, this is already double elimination. Oh my goodness. Okay.
This is already double elimination.
Lucifron has a shot. Okay, then, never mind. Scratch everything I just said and let's get into it. Now, we are on the map that, I must say, I feel a little bit like Lucifron has had a lot of practice on this. Kawasan is something that I feel like this could be his comfort zone because he knows exactly what to expect from Zushi. And this is now something that I think a lot of us will also need to be familiar with. This is a great map for Zushi's legacy if you let them have that advantage. So what I know about Lucifron is he will not let that go too easily. But the Aeobids is a civilization that actually, up until now, hasn't been going for water that early, knowing that they might need to contest this. And Zushi, on the other hand, not going for water because they really enjoy putting the landmark here right in the middle.
Yeah, it's just a lot more value that you get from that landmark in the middle rather than those 2-3 fishing ships at the beginning. So just rushing up Feudal Age and then utilizing that bonus food from the landmark for a dock then at that point in time, and you can get the attack ships so much quicker than the Aeobids can. Especially something interesting as well. Aeobids right now, he made a mining camp. So with that mining camp, this kind of tells you that he isn't going for the advancement wing, meaning that he won't get the age up in as quickly.
Okay, so why? Oh, yes, because with the... Okay, never mind, Crackedy. I was about to ask why, but... Okay, so for Twitch chat, guys, I like to explain things to people as well. So you don't actually need to mine that much gold. You just send the villagers and you bring them back, and that is more than enough gold to age up with. So then you actually match the age up pretty well, I would say. Not perfectly, but pretty well, because Zushi does have that fast building speed as well. So this makes it a little bit easier for them to get it up anyway. But Numudan not moving any of his villagers into position for that greedy goose play we usually see from people, but inside his base, he's got a pretty good spot for this anyway. But Lucifron, he's scouting.
He's moving out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a very, very juicy meditation gun spot, you would say.
Wow. Crackedy with the puns.
It's low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit. I'm picking it up.
Now, he does...
Wait, Lucifron's pulling a villager as well. Okay.
We got a party. We've been seeing this from players. They do not play around.
Wait, Numudan's pulling more vills as well. Oh.
Even better. He stops the landmark. The landmark gets moved, but that scout... Ooh, and he goes for the tower instead.
Okay. Economic wing industry. Oh, we're cooking on both sides.
Tell us more.
We're cooking all the way.
What does this mean for us?
This is interesting. So, economic wing industry means that, first of all, this means that the Ager from Numudan is getting very much delayed here. He is going to get the outpost up, and Lucifron will not be able to contest that, but the Age up is going to get delayed, and behind this, though, Lucifron will actually, get a ton of wooden. He's going to actually have tempo here, which you wouldn't expect. Oh, something else to keep in mind. Numudan, he cancels the outpost, or rather, he isn't finishing the outpost. He knows if he doesn't need it, he doesn't want it, so he can just delete it and then get all the wood back, which he can then put to use in the dock.
And pulling that third villager, ensuring you have enough wood, was such a good play here by Numudan. And now he's going to get all of that back. And I think that's probably what the scout was up to as well, to just ensure that he can do some damage. So when the cancel comes through, it does not get all done all for free. But it does look like Lucifron has the second dock in mind. He wants to get both of these legs. But like you said, with the industry, he's going to be able to afford it.
That is going to be a ton of wood coming in for him. Oh my god, we got a boar play here! Lucifron, he didn't see it in time, and Pumbaa, he managed to play with one of the villagers there, takes him down. Dock doesn't get cancelled though. Second villager is going to try. Scout from Lucifron's also getting pulled, so this time around he can at least pull the boar the opposite direction.
It does look like he wants to do this again, but luckily, like you said, that scout work is some important work, and he does try to pull it away. That poor villager is still not completely safe. Never mind, now he will live to tell the tale to the whole villagers. But the scout almost paid the price, though. It does look like that first dock is coming up from Numudan, though, and, the age up was fast, and the ship is going to be faster.
You see Lucifron immediately getting just a ton of wooden now. We do immediately see in queue the Springled and the demo ship for Lucifron from the double dock play. So he's not gonna let Numudan get control over this pond here. Meanwhile, Lucifron also getting a dock in on the other pond, actually double docking as well, just having all of that bonus wood here. And this is why this play, Industry Wing on a hybrid map, works so well, because usually you're not actually gonna be able to scale after going for Industry Wing unless you invest into a TC. But because you can invest into docks here on multiple ponds, this is where the scaling just is really good. Villager repair speed, by the way, very strong, and we can see that yeah, with the Villager repair speed, this is looking quite nice actually for Numudan. Having these villagers here means that he can very quickly repair these ships. Once again, villagers are getting pulled. Is it going to be in time? It is going to be in time. But so much micro going on. Lucifron, he's going to get the clean demo connection there. Another repair though, and it's so quick. It's so quick. Lucifron, he cannot keep the dock control.
That was such a beautiful micro there by Lucifron, but at the same time, Numudan just moved away at the right moment. Lucifron, though, could have potentially gotten those vills that were a little bit overextended here. The fishing ship's doing some amazing work. The Dow does take down that demo ship, and it does look like the micro from Lucifron is going to hold strong. But guys, at the back of this, we need to keep in mind, he's got a very risky dock play here. It does look like he will get that connection finally, and the villagers will back off. But another one! Crackedy! It doesn't stop!
The Dow is not gonna go down, and now he can repair. Lucifron manages to secure the pond, and now Numudan, he's gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Very good meditation garden here, but in the end, he did not manage to secure any of the ponds. He's now trying to get onto the other pond, but I do believe that Lucifron, his archer ship, is going up and that in that top pond.
Yeah, he's going to need this thing up pretty quickly, because with building speed, luckily only one villager getting sent this way. So the other thing that I think Lucifron needed to be aware of is this fast castle that we usually see from Zushi behind this if their first play does not work. But with the amount of stone we're seeing here, are we going to get a second TC?
I think this is more likely going to be a dock into emplacements. Into dock emplacements, since he does have double dock already at the bottom pond. Villager actually does get sniped by the archer ship. But I think this is more likely going to be emplacements potentially. Actually, now that they're getting taken down further and further, it could be a second TC. Wait. Okay, we're seeing a lot of production buildings.
Oh, he realized that dock play is not going to work.
It's going to be... Is it going to be emplacement? I feel like it's going to be emplacement still.
Yeah, but what you said...
Placement and repair?
I think he definitely wanted to consider getting that emplacement here. But now with that being taken down, just getting the military buildings... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I thought he was going to the water again. But just going for the deer, the nice thing about these high-ranked players, guys, is they actually scout, so he knows what's happening. He knows exactly where he needs to land the attack. And if we quickly take a look here, we can see he's not too serious about it, but he is spending a little bit of that gold now. He does have the opportunity, though, to pivot pretty soon. He just wants to do this very safely. Ensuring that he gets control of these legs is going to be part of that. But with 22 on wood, he's going to be able to produce so many ships if needed, or just get a lot of production buildings.
We do have that emplacement now coming in, actually able to snipe down one of the fishing ships there from Lucifron. Lucifron now pivoting into some horsemen. But he's already got a pretty good army composition, and look at him pumping out these units. This meditation garden just really paying for itself here with the amount of bonus food that Numudan is getting here at the moment. I mean that he can just invest so much more into military now on land, even without having that much fishing access. Because if you look at the food income, Numudan's actually very far ahead.
And this might be because he's out on the deer as well. But when we look at that villager split, he's definitely invested a lot more into getting a proper and solid army compared to Mr. Lucifron. And a villager goes down for this as well. We've all been Jugunu all in, and I think this is a pretty big warning sign as well. He knows how to deal with this. Get some walls up and hopefully survive. Now with the horsemen, he should be able to push these back initially, especially with those limited spears. He does push the deer a little bit. But we do see a villager out here, might get picked off. He does not want to die to this. Look at that.
This is a very dangerous spot at the moment for Lucifron to be in, though, because Numudan, he's really, really massing those units up here at the moment. Could also try and get a villager kill in. Doesn't quite get it. But I'm still very worried here in the situation at the moment for Lucifron. He's still investing a lot into wood. The issue is that you can't really make archers up against Jugunu, just because they get counted out so easily by them. They just do so much more damage with an unarmored, like, up against an unarmored unit here.
And now
Blacksmith upgrade's also coming in.
Exactly. Just getting that blacksmith upgrade is going to make these Jugunu so much more potent. Numudan, he probably feels pretty good about this running in. He just should not take note from Lucifron for last game. Do not fight under the TC, because the TC is actually something that will take those guys down. They do, however, want to break down this wall because the wood access he's had for a while. We see a lot of idle time here from Lucifron. This is 30 villagers being idle at the moment. Probably best case scenario for Numudan. I feel like the damage has been done at the cost of 1 or 2 Jugunu.
It's not just 1 or 2. Now we're almost up to 20 now. Numudan behind this. He can actually start like going for a ram push play now as well. Lucifron trying to snipe reinforcements here with his unit, still trying to get more and more resources in from the water. I'm not sure if maybe he can try and like go for an age-up play now behind this. It's going to be very, very tight timing. He still has a great economy behind this with the fishing ships. It's not as great as it could have been. And he's going to have to be so careful because those Jugunu once again are pivoting over to the gold vein. Lucifron is going to notice in time, but is still going to lose 2 villagers for it.
And 2 villagers might not seem like a lot, but in this point of time, definitely is. Because right now, he's got a pretty good food economy, but he needs some alternative resources. But with the horsemen, he is going to be able to start clearing out a unit or 2. Now, we do see the deer starting to dry up here from Numudan, so the food is going to get less and less, but he does have a very healthy bear back here as well. And it does feel like Lucifron is on borrowed time. The archers being rallied forward means they're going to get picked off instantly. They are barely even going to be able to look at those Jugunu.
Blacksmith now coming in for Lucifron. He realized that he needs to play the age, but you don't want to play the age as Ayubits in the feudal age. You want to play it in castle age. And now Numudan first ram is going to be coming in. Already so many Jugunu, so many spearmen, and Lucifron, he just doesn't have anything comparable at the moment. This is truly just a very, very tough situation for him. And look at that. Without the Pierce Armor upgrade, 5 Jugunu enough to one-shot an archer.
Now, the army is aware that there might be some shenanigans. He's smelling the fact that there has to be a different wood line, and he finds it. This is a pretty big indication that he's going to find some stray villagers out on the map. So for him, this is probably the best type of news he wanted, knowing that he will be able to find some damage out here. The problem is just Lucifron is on borrowed time, but this means the army is a little bit split. So possibly the only time I think Lucifron might be able to do some damage to this big army. You see the villagers migrating to the other side of the map, and that is such a dangerous zone for them to be in.
Wood just running so low here at the moment for Lucifron. He just doesn't have access wherever he goes. Now is able to at least get a little bit of breathing room there with those villagers next to the pond where he does have an archer ship, right? So at least a little bit of defense there for them. Numudan hasn't put up a second ram yet, but the first ram is starting to take down the docks on that first pond from Lucifron. And Lucifron, just without the wood access, he just hasn't really been able to mass up as many fishing ships as he might have liked to in this situation. Is finally starting to get to a mass where he's able to really pick off some of the Jugunu reinforcements time and time again. They're starting to at least look up in that regard, but overall still the army value very, very far ahead at the moment for Numudan.
And this feels like such a tough position for Lucifron to be in, because he knows what's coming and he needs to just find a way to pick off, even if it's just a handful of them. But him running around the map like this, with chasing after the horseman, could pose that opportunity. He does take down a fishing ship here as well, and that is going to do so much damage to this food income of his as well. We see this meditation garden just living his best life, producing producing and producing more food. Now, with the villagers out here, he is going to be able to afford those archers in his base. But now, the horses are trying to look for a little bit of damage.
Yeah, tries to go for a bit of counter raid. Numudan, he is running out of resource out of the map just when he pulls more villagers out there. Numudan is gonna lose a couple here or to this raid behind this, trying to get a couple more rams out for an additional push, but this is a lot of economic damage here inside the base of Numudan. More and more villagers going down, trying to find their way into the village. But is the damage here enough, as Lucifron is sacrificing a good couple of these horsemen? I mean, it is a really solid amount of damage. Now also able to take down a second Imperial official here as well. Really, really good damage found. Is now going to start to retreat back, and Numudan diving Lucifron's base behind this. And Lucifron just pulling his military inside the TC is going to try and do damage up against this mass infantry ball. But it feels like you just need so many volleys from the TC that it's not really realistic to take down this military mass here at the moment from Numudan with just the TC. You just need your military units to do that, but it is so difficult up against this really, really large mass from Numudan, even after you kill so many villagers here.
Yeah, him taking down 16 villagers definitely put him back in the game, but it does not mean that this is over for Numudan just yet. I mean, look at that army. That is a pretty scary mass to be faced against. But the thing is, those rams just did not get into the base to do that significant amount of damage. They definitely did some damage here on the docks, taking down this whole pond. But you can see that now he's using this as an opening to get back on that. Now the spearman learning his lesson. He's got the spearman back in the base to defend. And another horseman trying to stop this dock from going down. He does have some backup docks, but at the same time, Numudan is trying to counter dock this. He's also going to be seeing these bad boys just out here on... Oh, he's not yet, at least. That will be a pretty juicy amount.
The dock is getting rushed up, though.
And he does have vision.
Now he's going to see them. Yeah, double dock as well. I mean, Lucifron, in theory, he's got enough resource for one sprinkled ship on that pond, but Mount Lu Academy now behind this. Numudan, he's aging up to Castle Age now behind this.
And this feels so tough. That is a mass and a half coming towards the villagers. If we take a look at these guys, they know exactly where they're going. And it looks like that damage that was just done is going to be done to Lucifron again. Now, luckily for Numudan, these villagers do not have wheelbarrows, so he might be able to catch up to a few of them, but actually decides to turn back around and go towards the main base. Meaning that some of these will actually, or most of these will actually get out alive. But the problem
the villager is on the run here with the age up. Upgrades are coming in now. Veterancy on the Jugunu. Once that is in, even the horsemen can no longer counter out the Jug mass.
And the problem is, he's just not able to produce anything to take this down. He is trying to, but it just feels so tough. Now with the villagers on gold, he's trying his best to just get back to that tempo that he needed. But Lucifron, he did so much damage, but it just was not enough. And now, even losing some of these fishing ships could cause the game to end. Now, this is a pretty big army, and like you said, the veterancy is ticking. I'm a little bit worried here for Mr. Lucifron, but the numbers, it's not... We can't discount it yet. It does look pretty decent in terms of numbers. The problem is just those are feudal age units. Never mind. He's going straight for the villagers again. Those horses have been an absolute menace on this. And now 20 total villagers going down for Numudan.
Yeah, Lucifron, he's doing a great job of just trying to bite down on this game, not really letting go just yet. More outposts coming up inside the base from Lucifron now. He does know that his opponent only has unarmored units at the moment. There aren't even that many, well, there aren't any rams out yet at the moment. And if he can just get enough eco damage done, maybe there's still a way for him back into this game. I say that, and just then he finds another villager raid in the woodline. Once again, finds Imperial officials to take down. But now the units are inside of his base, and the first outpost is going to go down very, very quickly. No +2 defense yet, though, on the units from Numudan, so they are going to take a significant amount of damage, and the archers are actually going to find some good shots there onto the spearmen. That's the only unit here that really throws torches. Jugunu in mass are able to take down buildings, but not nearly as quickly as the spearmen.
He does decide that this is definitely worth it and he goes back into the outpost, but the archers are doing their best at trying to target fire one by one. Horseman raid still looking pretty great, but the thing is, this is a desperation raid. It's not a situation where you're feeling confident about all of this.
Archer's still trading out here. We have reached a significant mass where both players are able to start one-shotting, but in the line formation, Numudan still able to take the better trades here at the end of the day. The issue is that his economy is pretty much completely idle. Lucifron on double the eco count, and the income, it's looking like a standstill at the moment for Numudan. This is crazy.
The fact
how
that
Lucifron has been able to come back in this game.
He's clawed his way back in, and this is absolutely fantastic. Now, those horsemen, he did lose a significant amount of them, but he knows he needs to get the food and he needs to get to castle. And now, with the amount of fishing ships he has, he might have that shot, but the moment he hits that age up, he needs to be careful. And this could mean that the age up might just be the one answer of military wing. I mean, he could try to go for more villagers, but in that case, he might fall behind pretty quickly. We've been seeing a lot of Aeobids go for military wing as well, because even if they don't win the fight at that moment, it just adds up so quickly. So do you also foresee a military wing coming out of this man? Oh, he stopped producing villagers. Oh, he wants to get this age up so quickly. He knows it's time.
I think he needs advancement. There we go. Yeah, advancement wing is coming in.
That makes sense.
It's just the timing advantage, and you get it cheaper, and you do need it really, really quickly. Villagers at this point as well should be moving through the wall at the bottom there, try and get some gold income somehow, somewhere. Might be though that Numudan anticipates that he's gonna need gold for the upgrades.
Now, he does not find a way out just yet, and he's about to find a face tank with a few of these villagers as well, if they do not move. But the spearman now going at the wall. This could be the alarm bell for him, like, hey, I need gold for the upgrades, and he gets the wall just like you said, Crackedy. It looks like he just needed a little reminder of the arrow units firing at him with 1,000 bolts and more. Now, the houses are next on the menu, and he definitely has the wood to get back if he does lose some of these, but no. These units actually just want to do some real eco damage. They do not find any just yet. It does look like these villages are not going straight to the gold.
They're going to the gold in the middle of the map. The large gold vein.
Sneaky.
Behind us, I mean, the issue with, or rather, it's very interesting because in Feudal Age, Jugunu absolutely dominate archers. It kind of changes up though. Once you are able to get to Castle Age with a lot of archers, they pull ahead quite a bit more because they get +2 damage and Jugunu only get +1 damage. Now they do obviously shoot more bolts, but there's a lot of overkill in there as well. You can kite better with archers, they are quicker, and maneuverability just becomes a lot more important then. At that point in the game, we are getting camel lances in, we are getting veterancy on the archers in, and suddenly Numudan, he's gonna struggle a lot more with this. He also doesn't have Pierce Armor level 2. Granted, Lucifron doesn't have that as well, but Pierce Armor level 2 also is very important when you're up against archers here. And he's been in Castle Age for a lot longer.
Now, he's been in Castle Age, but he does not have all those wonderful Castle Age units that deal with archers so well. So, if he had a few lancers in here, that might have made these fights a little bit easier for him to overwhelm with, especially when he was so adamant about diving. But now, that eco difference might actually be showing the moment this next fight happens, because Numudan is not going to be able to replace that army, but Lucifron, he definitely will, because he's got the fish. And even though the ram has done amazing work, it has not done enough. Look at that stray little Jugunu, just causing some trouble.
It's about to get shot down though, and there's still a villager up that can always rebuild these stocks, which are still very, very cheap for the Aeobids here, paying only 75 wood per. Man, Lucifron, these horseman raids just keeping him in the game and actually giving him a shot at it. And right now, looking at the stats, army value and economy count, he is looking super, super solid. And Numudan now didn't quite manage to close out this game. Now, this isn't match point for Lucifron yet. It was for Numudan, though. And the way it's going right now, it looks like we might be getting to game number 5 here.
And I am welcoming that treat so badly. I would love to see us going all the way, because this feels like these two have definitely shown their teeth, and both of them showing that they deserve to qualify for this. Now, another docking situation coming through here. Numudan trying his best at getting another dock, instantly focusing on the villagers, as we see from Lucifron. He just does not want to lose this water because he knows this is where his power is. The problem is the food from Numudan has run out, and now he's going to be even more susceptible to these raids.
Yeah, behind this, like 60 archers from Lucifron now, with all the blacksmith upgrades in as well. 10 camel lances more coming in, also going for the dervishes, going for the relics now behind this. And there it is, the big mass of archers. These are not clock tower nest of bees. They might not be up for this, but the nest of bees is still something to be respected here. Lucifron will have to be careful. There's not a fight right now that he really needs to take, but the camel lances, the nest of bees! That's it. There is no coming back now. This Nest of Bee play was Numudan's last way of getting back into this game after losing his advantage earlier. And now, with the archers, the mass of archers in front of his base, there's just no way to push them back. Another Nest of Bee is coming in now. Inspiration, well, or Supervision is coming in, tries to get him out in time, but it's not enough. Numudan is going to have to concede this game, and with this means we are going to go to game number 5. 3 sets today, Whamen, and all of them going to 5 games.
I am absolutely speechless. I cannot believe these two. Numudan, it feels like he just cooked the most delicious meal for all of us to enjoy. But then, Lucifron, he just came in swinging. Those horses, it was fantastic. The way he controlled his army, the way he kept his opponent completely overwhelmed and out of his base, it just shows us why he has always been at the top. And even when he took a little bit of a break, he comes back and shows that prowess yet again. Wonderful performance here by both of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've had 2 really, really big comebacks now, didn't we? Like last game, Rus versus China. That was a really, really great comeback from Numudan. This one, Lucifron, came back miraculously, I want to say.
Now, I feel like you might be in for a treat when you see this last matchup. Twitch chat, we're about to see the last matchup. Let's go and look. Guys.
House of Lancaster versus...
No! Oh, no.
Then it has to be Delhi, right?
Strike 2.
Oh... HRE versus Ottomans. Okay.
That was not on my bingo card either, I'll be honest. HRE, yes, of course. HRE, that's a civilization that a lot of people still have problems with. Lucifron, I have not seen HRE in his hands, but if I was a betting woman, I would definitely put my money on the person who has HRE in their draft. The Ottomans, though, they've been able to do some pretty crazy feudal pushes.
Sapahia broken.
Yes. And also the fact that even if they don't get that damage done in Castle Age, that thing still pumps hard. And guys, before we go into this next game, remember, after the next set, we will be doing the giveaway. We'll be opening the giveaway after this game. And then you guys can start entering. We'll go watch a few ads and then we'll go into the final series. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready because that is going to be another beautiful... Wait. Let me just quickly show them again what they can be getting. Ladies and gents, look at those. Oh, there they are. Look at those. They're wonderful. They're orange. And they will go right into your ears. I actually have the white ones. And they are absolutely wonderful. I used to use AirPods. Rest in peace, the AirPods. But yeah, this is an absolute wonderful set of earphones. And I would recommend them to anyone. And the person who gets them for free, you will be very lucky. I'm definitely hoping my orange ones arrive as well. And then I'll have 2 sets and I can just do 1 color each ear like an absolute animal. But that could be you. So guys, entering in a little while, but very, very soon. So for those of you on YouTube, remember, you can head over on to Twitch where we will be doing this. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our game. Hope you're ready. Crackedy.
And ready we are as we're jumping into our game number 5. Match point here on Gorge between Lucifron in the color green, playing as the Holy Rome Empire, starting us off here with Dark Age Barracks. His opponent is going to be Numudan as the Ottomans, and we see the military school opener from him.
That is exactly what I was way too excited to not interrupt you on. The fact that we're getting barracks versus military school, it tells us the tale of old Ottomans versus new meta. Now, we'll see if Lucifron is going to be able to find some damage, but honestly, he might. Because this is a very exposed gold. If we look at the distance between the two, this thing is very much not protected, so it does feel like a pretty opportune place to go do some damage. The other option he has, though, is just to go push his deer. We'll see what he opts for.
Yeah. Now, in theory, just in general, like, the spearmen that are coming in from the military school, it's quite slow. Like, we're looking at roughly a minute from now for the first spearman to come in. By that point in time, Lucifron's gonna have, like, almost 4 spearmen out already. And, yeah, just being able to immediately do damage to the gold here. Now, Lucifron, he doesn't know where the gold is yet, though, or even if that is his initial point of aggression that he wants to go on to. Numudan very early on pulled villagers over 2 gold, so I'm not sure if he expects something like this. He might very well do. He might very well expect something like this. He does definitely see the spearmen now, so could potentially pull even more villagers over, which he does do. More villagers being sent over to that gold vein now. He will be able to quickly gather up enough gold for the age up. So this Dark Age rush, in the end, is not going to affect him too badly here. He is going to be fine.
Now, with him getting the gold, he does need to keep in mind, like, hey, I might need to get enough gold to actually get a spearman upgrade if I decide to go for it. No. He will probably have to go into archers from here on to deal with these, if Lucifron decides to stay.
Behind this, I mean, the spearman from Numudan could try and lure the deer, but realistically, yeah, there's already a spearman from Lucifron luring his own deer, but I would also expect Lucifron to pull an additional spearman over and just kill the deer from Numudan that are close by.
And there is a very juicy packer right up here. You don't want your opponent to get the opportunity to push them in, and Numudan going for the one back on the one side. Let's see if he's gonna try to get it as close as possible before those spears arrive. Now, he does have this one singular military school spear, and a second one will be joining, but not soon. He sends it over to go do a little bit of harassment instead, or even just to deny the deer.
Yo, Twin Minaret Madras now coming in for Numudan. Lucifron not too far off with his own age up, just courtesy of having 40% faster economy with the HRE, thanks to that prelate early on. And should be seeing an Archon Chapel coming in here at the back of his base. We'll be able to boost up the wood line, the berries, and all the food underneath the TC. So still looking very good here for Lucifron economy-wise once that age up comes in.
Now this definitely feels like an okay start. Numudan he's able to go back on goal. He's able to normalize here and go for the actual deer of his opponent as well. So the spearmen definitely have their place, but I feel like this just speaks into the late game. If he does get the Sapahi, he is able to stop the first one or two, depending on where he puts those bad boys. But we'll see what that push looks like, because with 4 and gold Crackedy, are we seeing a professional scout from HRE? Because I remember when they used to go for it, but I don't know if this is still a very common thing people do. Or just normal upgrades.
It's not as common as it used to be, but if you go for an Archon, it definitely plays into it, right? Just because you have that one spot where, there we go, Miller's coming in. Yeah, this is 100% the professional scout play here from Lucifron. Because you're able to park all of those deer underneath the Archon Chapel, you're just able to explode into a massive amount of food income there, which just boosts up your economy so much. And it's definitely something that you would expect here from the HRE, especially since Ottomans, he has lamed the deer, which means that Numudan can't push in the deer. So it's very easy for him to go for his pro scout play now.
That makes a lot of sense. I can imagine that will be so fruitful if Numudan lets him have it. And just that. We'll see now what the villagers decide to go for next. But with 12 on food and 5 on gold, I'm not thinking they're going for anything, Crackedy. It feels like they're going for castle and castle only.
Yeah, Castle Age makes, like, fast Castle Age makes a lot of sense for the Ottomans. You're able to put up more military schools. You're also able to get higher value units from your military schools. And Sipahi and Castle Age are just really, really good. They go up to, I think it's 185 HP, which is just 5 short of normal, like, feudal age knights. Do have the Spearman from Lucifron trying to pick off some villagers here, but Outpost does get up. Is going to be denied there.
Does not have that first vizier point yet, but soon enough. And when you...
It's going to be sheep.
A sheep, yeah, I was going to say, he's definitely not going to want to give up on all that free food in the base. It does feel like a really good position to be in, because you just get yourself safely into castle, you have enough food to make units, and to go from there. And then let that tempo start to build. Lucifron, though, he should know this is happening because he's seen how many villages there are over here. He's seen the split of every single ville. So he should know what's coming. We'll see if he does decide to actually...
Oh no! Imam. Imam point came in first. Now this makes sense if you rush Castle Age, because when you rush Castle Age, you're not actively producing units. When you're not actively producing units in Feudal Age as the Ottomans, you're gonna get your second Vizier point in the later stages of Castle Age. And you do want to get imams in eventually, like especially early on, because you want to secure the relics before your opponent has military out in the first place to deny that. That's not going to be the case up against Lucifron, though, so he already has the appropriate reaction to that, which is why I personally expected just the Sheep Vizier point to come in here for Numudan, just secure food, and you're also going to get 15% faster gold gathering from your gold villagers, so... You kind of benefit there very early on. Mehmed Imperial Armory now going to be coming in for Numudan.
And this is going to mean that he's going to be able to make a play for those relics pretty early on, but Lucifron knows this. So moving out onto the relics already, you can see him just parking right there. The thing is, these guys, they have an escort. So the archer going to be the front line here, just ensuring that nobody gets to touch these relics. But both of them being together means that this is probably the best spot for him to try and go for both relics. And you can see Lucifron, he's getting ready on every single side. He's not going to give this up for free.
And the archer is going to spot the spearman here, but that's enough spearmen to challenge one single archer. And Numudan, he's going to try healing now, that archer, but does reveal the Imam play with it.
Now, the rest of the spearmen are going to be joining this party. The thing is, with this type of information, even if he gives up one of these, the delay is pretty significant. You can see him now also rerouting all the villages onto gold as well, so that he can at least try to make a play for some of these relics. He might not be able to stop these two, but he can delay those Imams from getting them for free.
The horseman is trying to intercept the Imam now. Might actually find him there. He does. Wololo is coming out though, so horseman is going to have to retreat at least for the moment. But there they go. Horseman diving onto that Imam at the same time. The spearman from Lucifron also trying to get that Imam, and it looks like the spearman might not be enough here. Yeah, both Imams are going to go down. Numudan losing out big here on the Imam play.
That was such a beautiful timing with the horsemen as well, ensuring that the spearmen are keeping them engaged so the horsemen can intercept. I would not have called this if you paid me, Crackedy. That was fantastic by Lucifron. You can see even with the scouts here, he stopped professional scouting as hard as he was, just to make sure he has vision, and he goes in here without being blind and running into these very, very annoying stealth forests. But the relics are a little bit closer, but the Imams, they are no more. So this will definitely require a significant investment to get this back up and running. And guys, 200 wood at this stage of the game, when you do not have production buildings, is largely significant because you are already struggling to get your military schools up. And right now, this is not the Ottomans we see that people say is broken. This is an Ottoman on the back foot, waiting for the military schools to actually make a miracle happen.
Yeah, we only have one military school in at the moment. Numudan now trying to reinvest into the imams. He did get the monastery up for it, or mosque rather. This is a tough situation for him, though. He has started gathering some stone in, so we'll be able to drop some additional military schools soon. He's going to have to really lean heavily into a Janissary play now at this point in time, I believe, just because, like, it's a very high-value unit, and he is getting the archer range in, and his opponent already showed the horseman, so it kind of makes sense to go for some Janissaries here. He's also getting the Sprinkles in next, and the horsemen are trying to find a raid here, are going to be able to take down one of the villagers as well.
It does feel like those villagers are definitely valuable at this point because he needs every bit of resource he can to deal with this very heavy army coming out to his side. Because now, as we're looking, these deer, they might not be that much, but they're slowly adding more and more. These pro scouts, they are just not professionally scouting, they're semi-professionally scouting. Not feeling in a rush, they're just bringing them every now and again. You can see some of the villagers...
scouting.
Leisurely, I like that. So that does cause a little bit of idle time here amongst the villagers, but definitely a constant food income. And you can see the numbers are so different between these two players.
Yeah. HRE just suffering from success, gathering up so quickly that the villagers go idle, even while actively pro-scouting.
Now, with these archers, he's able to pick off quite a bit, and the horsemen losing a little bit of focus here. Now, that mangonel is going to run right back to safety, but the archers are doing some great work. Now, it does feel like Lucifron... Oh my goodness, and I didn't even realize this was an option. He goes right for the siege here at the back, and it looks like he will be able to pick up the mangonel, and that's massive, because that is the one thing that would have dealt with all those archers. Another villager going down as well. And the thing about these knights is, they might take some damage, but they can go home and heal up. There are 4 prelates in the base, and they're looking for something to do other than just inspire.
Yeah. Behind this, Numudan, he is now trying to get a couple of Janissaries out on the field. Janissaries are going to deal great with anything but archers. But against the archers, you will have Sipahi. So this is kind of the thing with the Ottomans, where 2 units and they get a full army composition against any unit. Usually you need 3 units at least to get a full army composition against everything. Ottomans need 2. They can't count to 3. If they count to 3, it's they use a separate hand, and that's gonna be Sprinkles.
Now, this knight actually does go down, and the second one too, but he does take another victim along with him. 7 villagers down now, and that must feel pretty good for Lucifron. Numudan now, his passive eco is starting to look pretty decent though. I would be a very happy camper with all of these military schools here, but the problem is, I don't know if they're producing fast enough to handle this death ball that is going to go his way. We now see Lucifron getting his 3rd relic as well, and that is a happy HRE, especially when you go for the cathedral. Both of these being dropped right now, and that's going to mean that gold income is going to be so sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be almost 500 gold per minute now for Lucifron, just passively. Definitely something that the HRE do enjoy, getting that passive gold, and he is investing that quite heavily into this mass knight play, which is coming in now. Janissaries out on the menu though. But Lucifron, he feels like he has the mass archers counter, focusing down all those Janissaries. Knight count thinning a little bit, but it's still there in significant numbers, and now Janissaries are completely gunned from the field, just 1 remaining. Sprinkles actually did manage to do a great job damaging the archers here. Looks like Numudan might be able to hold on. It's looking rather tough. More knights coming in, though. More archers reinforcements coming in as well. Sprinkles starting to go down. Sipahi remaining. We do have a couple of crossbows. More Janissaries in now as well. There's a very tough hold, but it looks like Numudan is going to be able to thread the needle and stay alive here for the time being.
He stays alive, but he loses another set of villagers, and this is such a tough spot to be in. Now the Imam just here to heal up a few of these villagers under duress, and losing 10 vills at this stage of the game, it feels pretty tough. You're 15 minutes in, you're already 10 vills down, and your economy is not in a place where you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to be fine as time goes on. Now the farm transition is starting from HRE as well, and this starts to become harder and harder as the time goes on. As you can see now, this is looking great for HRE. They love being in this position because that's exactly where they shine. They pick off a few units, go back, replenish it at twice the amount, and then go in for another push. Now, with these Springals, I think that Lucifron will probably take a little bit of notes from that last fight and not allow those Springals to do what they just did. The Janissaries, though, doing amazing work to these Knights, and in those few numbers, they're really trying their best, but it doesn't look like they're going to be long for this world. But also the Knights going down, pretty good pickup for Numudan, but he needs to find a way to get back into this game in terms of his economy, definitely.
Honestly, I think Numudan is not in a bad position here. 4 military schools pumping out Sapahi. Gold just gets invested into Janissaries. He just used Janissary Company as well, so he just got a ton of additional... Wait, was that Janissary Company? I think that was Janissary Company. Yeah, he did just use that. So he got 10 Janissaries out now. So he's got a really, really good army. Look at the army value, 4,500 to 3,000. And if Numudan finds his way up to Imperial Age here, which realistically he can do, like, Ottomans is just broken once they get to Imperial Age. I'll say this much. Ottoman is broken when they get to Imperial Age, just courtesy of having free siege and the perfect army composition in the game.
Now, the thing is, Lucifron showed us in a previous game, he knows that he can overcommit, and this is going to be one thing that could spell his downfall. He needs to be so careful. When he sees this, he knows that, okay, my opponent has invested a significant amount in getting to those Janissaries. Because choosing the Janissary Vizier point is usually something we do out of desperation or a strategic play. But this feels more like one of those choices you make when you feel like, I need to get a military and I need to get it now. So this is something that HRE needs to be careful of. And I think that Lucifron is the person who could overcommit in a position like this. He's shown us in a previous game. Let's see if he's learned from that mistake, especially with these Springals. We've been seeing how much work they are doing. And those Knights at the back, get another villager, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Now, again, Archer's a little bit too far forward. They take a lot of fire there from the Springals and the Springal Tower. Now, just trying to snipe, but he's losing a lot of this. Oh no.
We do see Lucifron adding in some men-at-arms as well behind this. Just the issue is that Numudan, he already has the counter to those with the Springals. So it is very tough for Lucifron to really find an army composition that works now in this situation. He's also got a lot of prelates out on the map, so he is actually like actively inspiring the villagers, even if they're outside of the range of the Archon Chapel. His income looks really, really solid. I'm still, Whamen, I'm just very worried that against the Ottomans, it is so incredibly tough to deal with their military. And that's what they're so good at, just getting this death ball of units going that you just cannot go up against. It is so frustrating in these situations. Because now, sure, Lucifron could also invest into siege. The issue is that his opponent has by far the strongest anti-siege unit in the game with the Sapahi, the best horseman in the game. And if Lucifron wants to go for cavalry to take down the siege from Numudan, well, Numudan has the best anti-cavalry unit as well with the Janissaries. It is why the Ottomans, they just can feel very oppressive to play against when it comes to late game, when they do get this large Janissary mass up, because you just cannot counter it.
It does look like Lucifron knows that because he's just trying to find more and more damage, trying to do exactly what he did last game. But like you said, if that army goes and connects, there's nothing that Lucifron can honestly do to stop this. It does feel like that tower at the front, we see it now being upgraded, but he's just trying to get another villager kill as time goes on. But again, those are passive resources, like you said. He does pick off a Janissary, but a Janissary for a knight does not feel good at this stage of the game, and this feels like a pretty scary push. He does get that, he does get the emergency repair on that, but it will go down soon after. We do see the army gathering at the back here, Prelate inspiring and healing. We'll see if he has inspired, no, he does not have inspired warriors, so that's purely a healy Prelate, but for him, he's still trying to find that damage. 16 dead villagers now, and honestly, this does not look like a game where someone just lost 16 villagers.
Yeah, it does not. It's just those military schools, they're a great way to scale your military, and that's what Numudan did. 8,500 military value with all of the free siege as well, compared to 6,000 at the moment for Lucifron. And in a choke point, these Springles are gonna absolutely crush his military, so he has to really make sure that he's fighting outside of that choke point. And he is actually able to fight in a little bit of an opening here, not directly inside the choke point, though the men-at-arms do take a lot of damage here. But in the end, actually, Lucifron taking a great fight here. Zapahi are gone. The big mess of Zapahi is not where they're needed at the moment, and that means that a lot of the Janissaries can get focused down here. That is what Lucifron needs. Keep the Janissary count low. Once the Janissary count is low, then the Knights and the Men-at-Arms can do work again. But it's starting to thin out. More Zapahis are coming in.
And it just feels
not quite enough focus there on the gens.
It feels like Numudan felt that bit of desperation to see the death ball going in, and with that Zapahi, he wanted to stop those night raids that he keeps seeing. But now if these Springles go down, it's going to be so hard to remax. And now Lucifron, he's got enough of a mass to be able to punish this if Numudan gives him the opening. The archers doing an insane amount of damage here and actually picking off. But now we see Lucifron floating 3,000 gold, and I floated 3,000 gold before. And usually this spell's Imperial because you just quickly build a market.
You're like
and you're
Lucifron.
Like, yeah, I'm basically Lucifron. You know, I beat a laser, right? So am I a pro gamer now?
Confirmed.
Yes. I'm not going to rematch him, of course, but otherwise, basically the same as Whamen Crackedy. What do you expect? But with that amount of gold, he can go in any direction of the game. That is the beauty of it. And he goes Imperial.
Oh, same thing.
Mm-hmm. Miss Macro.
There it is, Palace of Swabia. I mean, if Lucifron gets Imperial Age way ahead of Numudan, and he's able to get the upgrades in from Imperial Age, mainly Elite on the Archers, Incendiary Arrows, those are going to be the main upgrades that Lucifron needs in order to be able to deal with all of Numudan's army with a single unit type. That could be his way back into the game, because at the moment I actually do firmly believe that Numudan is ahead if the game kept going in its current state.
I'm actually quite surprised to hear that. And not fully, but it feels a little bit rough, because this just seems like Lucifron made so many more plays, but Numudan knows his civilization, and he's showing us he knows his civilization so well. We don't see an upgrade coming for Lucifron just yet, but I would eat my shoes if that was not an archer upgrade being prioritized. Because like you said, with those incendiary arrows, this is going to be really hard to punish. But he does get those bombard emplacements now, and that is going to be so hard to handle, especially even
Lucifron
as Ottomans.
Yeah, Lucifron, he knows that Numudan might just go for the all-in now, so these upgrades, these emplacements are going to be key here for him. Having the cannon emplacement is just going to mean that he will have a static way of dealing with those Janissaries, and we do actually have, from the looks of it, a little expansion out here from Numudan, but there are horsemen here from Lucifron that do spot this, and we do see a couple of green dots moving towards this little proxy base now, as it looks like Numudan, he needed this expansion, or want to get this expansion in order to be able to move out onto the deer there and potentially go for an Imperial Age and even secure the large gold vein there. Not able to do that. Villagers are getting pulled. They're an effective meat shield now that the Palace of Swabia is here. And now emplacement and as well, bombard cannons are going to be flying out from those outposts.
A TC does go up at the back, and the horsemen do go down, but it's purely by the hands of the villagers. Just like Lucifron saw his horsemen die, he pulled his own, and that feels pretty good when you're taking down that significant portion of an army, and you know he cannot push through you. The only thing Lucifron needs to do now is he needs to find a way to keep his opponent in castle. Because once you get him to Imperial, he is going to be pumping. We do see the horsemen now that you mentioned. They are at the back of this. They're picking up villages, and it feels like Numudan is just not catching a break. Oof, I say this, and oh my gosh, Numudan is going right for it.
He is going for the dive, but at this point in time, feels like a little bit of a desperation play here. There were some cold runs that did get sniped. The second one is also going to get sniped, so no siege play here at the moment, but Numudan is throwing away all of his army for it. Behind this, the Imperial Age play looks to be his goal, just trying to buy himself what little time he can with his military mass, but the sacrifice. I feel like it was just a little bit too much here. We do have still veterancy on the archers, so no elite yet. Lucifron just not quite having the resource for it at the same time, and the massive movement speed here on the HRE archers mean that these couple of remaining Janissaries will not be able to survive. We do see some big walls coming up here behind as well. And yeah, Numudan, he knows his only win condition chance in this game is getting these walls up and being able to survive until the Imperial Age comes through, until he's able to get that big army production in from those military schools. 10 Springles, 8 Sipahi. Whamen, I think he might still be able to make his way up to Imperial Age, and I think this might still be a really close game.
And that just feels so dirty, knowing that you've killed 21 villagers, and you're still gonna have a hard time ending him. I do see Twitch chat talking about...
If you can end him.
If you do what?
Oh, that's the thing. Like, I'm not sure if Lucifron can realistically end him here.
Yeah. I don't think so either. It just feels like there's just so many holes he's able to plug, and doesn't matter how many horsemen he keeps sending in here, they are just able to get shut down every time. He does pick up another bunch of villages here. That TC is not going to be housing everyone here. Apparently not going to be housing any for a while. They just want to watch their fellow countrymen die, and they're all dead, Crackedy. He doesn't stop, but the Sipahis are ready to handle. Twitch chat did have a question though. What is the difference to cooking and being cooked?
Well, have you ever looked at this question from the perspective of a lobster?
Mm-hmm. What does a lobster cook? If he's the chef?
Well, they've been cooking a lot in Disney movies so far,
Okay,
but yeah, they don't typically do a lot of cooking, but they do tend to get cooked quite often.
Now these Springals are looking... See, these Springals are cooking, and these archers, they're cooked. There we go. They're that lobster Crackedy is talking about. But these guys, you see all those little hands? Lobsters as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of life at the end of the day, isn't it? You either cook or you get cooked.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes.
Now it does look like these boys are very heavily putting up the temperature now that they are in Imperial. We'll see those upgrades coming through. We'll see that next Vizier point he chooses as well. He got Advanced Academy.
Should be Great Bombard, potentially. Like, just have that Great Bombard in, and... The Great Bombard is actually, like, really strong there as well, just against infantry and anything like that.
Now it does look like the next Horseman raid is coming on through. These horses just never stop. I can imagine Numudan is feeling quite frustrated with these guys, and they know there's something happening. He splits them into 3 groups and instantly goes and tries to find them. He does find them, but now they have to run around, and this feels like a little bit of an opening. Now the army on Numudan's side, it is quite thin, Crackedy. Do you still think that Ottoman can hold this?
I honestly do. At this point in time, okay, Numudan did actually just switch up the army production from his military schools over to Janissaries. I don't quite agree with that. I think you should still just mass up Sipahi and just try and gather as much gold as possible. And all your gold, you're going to put into upgrades on Janissaries and Sipahis and just produce as many Janissaries as possible normally. Because Sipahi are an insanely strong meat shield. And you just need the backline with Janissaries. That's where, like, your main damage is going to be coming from at the end of the day. We do see the upgrade coming in on the Sipahi. Actually, yeah, Numudan already used up all of his Vizier points, so he can't actually get any more Vizier points in, so it's not going to be a great Bombard Vizier point coming in anytime soon here.
It does look like these horsemen are actually, again, getting a lot of idle time and possibly getting a lot of villagers again. And the thing is, just with that second TC, it doesn't feel as dangerous, especially with the Sipahis following through, but the problem is now, this is going to be a pretty tough spot to defend, because if these military schools...
Janissaries at the front!
Yeah, and they're expensive. There's only 3 of them left, but the Springals are there to try and save them.
Yeah, Sprinkles are still doing a great job there, but we are on 3 Culverins now. Elite upgrade has come in on the Sipahi behind us, and yeah, they're tanky. They are very, very tanky. Don't have a meta at the moment. That could also be an issue. First Great Bombard has come out. Lucifron, he's got a very big army. Numudan very far away from having a big army.
And now,
he's trying his best to get to it, but now the military school's getting taken down.
That is usually the toughest position as Ottomans, because you know that is your comeback mechanic. But with those Culverins, it gets so hard. The second Great Bombard is out now. Oh, he did pick the Bombard. I was going to say, that was very fast.
Yeah, it looks like he still had a Vizier point. I actually thought he had gone through all of them. Looks like that wasn't the case. Once again, these raids on the gold. Numudan, for crying out loud, just invest 100 wood, get the walls up.
He's like, I can bleed them villages, doesn't matter. But the Springals are going to be so difficult to handle. The Great Bombards taking out one of the Culverins. They are firing back at the Great Bombards, but this feels like such a hard position to be in as any civilization, because how do you get to the back of these guys? And I don't think Lucifron knows either. He does have 200 supply constantly, but Numudan, he's the one creeping forward.
Numudan, he is struggling at the moment, actually, with getting enough units going. He is just now trying to send a couple more units out onto the map, trying to raid the flanks with at least a couple of Sipahi. Now, Sipahi are just the best raiding unit in the game, I want to say, in the late game. Such a great meat shield unit overall. But this is starting to become dangerous. The second he starts moving out, that is the moment in time where Lucifron's pushing in, and the Culverins doing a great job at taking down the siege from Numudan. More and more Sipahi coming in, trying to be the front line that he needs at the moment. But there are just so many spearmen as well still remaining here.
The villagers are supposed to be preparing, but they are distracted right now. It does feel like the sacred site timer being stopped there. We do see finally getting a decap as though, and that makes it even harder for him.
Is Numudan winning this fight?
It looks like it. But the reinforcements, Crackedy,
it has to be mellowing out. Like, that is such a long line of units coming out from Lucifron, but Numudan, he's holding.
And getting that sacred site down just means that Numudan gave himself another bunch of minutes that he could potentially crawl back into this. Not that you believe he's been behind, but it looks so behind, Crackedy, but I see what you mean. Ottomans is just the never die civilization, especially with these bad boys ready to survive and fire at anything that people throw their way. But now,
I Am Magic has done things to me with Ottomans. Unspeakable things. I believe the Sith can do anything.
Now, when units are clumped up like this, Great Bombards actually have a wonderful time. The thing is now, there is going to be a little backwards raid yet again. The Springald numbers are not the same as they were before. The Great Bombard a little bit exposed, those horses coming from behind onto the Great Bombard, and one of them will go down, but the second one is now at the front being exposed, but the archers not really getting as much damage as they want, but it will be enough.
This might be a break. Yeah, this looks to be the break. Lucifron, he's had enough military units this time around, didn't give Numudan enough time to remass, and I think now GG comes in. Yeah, game number 5, Lucifron is going to be able to push through, and this means Numudan, he's going to find himself on the loser bracket side in the double elimination stage, while Lucifron is going to move up to the upper bracket finals.